All right, let's so we're doing a character tier list, but based on how hard it is to play them, how difficult the champion is. So it's more like a skill required play tier list. Okay, what is the name of the hardest champions to play? Only for gods. So only for gods, tough nut to crack, normal difficulty. This would be easy, and this would be brainwashed. Wait, let me do something real quick. There we go. 2 brain cells. Fighting. Average. Dude. Alright. Here we fucking go. Is there anything we really want to put out there? Like, some of them that we really want to say, this is hard, this is easy, this is brain dead. So we probably want to put Yumi down here. The thing with Yumi is I find it hard to hit your Q if the enemy is smart. So in your lane, your laning phase is pretty hard. But it doesn't necessarily say that it's hard to play. It's more like you're gonna have a hard time. But if you get out of it, then you're pretty useful. So yeah, I think Yumi's brainwashed, but I don't think she's like the most brainwashed character. I think this might go to malphite, to be honest. We'll see at the end. Like, we're not gonna order it right away. But at the end, we'll see if we want to put one as like the bottom 5 and then the top 5. Skarner. I would say he's not brainwashed. Like, is he a bit strong, and is he a bit like stupid to work around? Can he go through walls? Yes. Is it hard to get the hang of it? That's also the question. I would say a bad Skarner will miss a lot of ults, whereas a good Skarner will get multiple people in his ult, and it will actually clutch the fight. So I can see a difference between a bad and a good Skarner. And I'm gonna move to a controversial take. I think Anivia is hard. At least tough nut to crack. The question is Anivia worth the only for gods status? Because I've played Anivia before. I'm pretty good at her, I would say, and you see the combos that look super cool where it's like she Qs and then she walls, and then that forces the enemy's path to go towards the Q, and she stuns them, and you know, is that cool looking? Yes. Does it look complicated? Yes. But when you break it down, it's not that hard to do, so I think she's gonna be here. We want to talk about Zoe. I think Zoe is a tough nut to crack. I don't think she's only for gods. She has a lot of skill shots, so if you miss your skill shots, you're pretty much useless. You still have the passive that does base damage. Do you think she's god tier? I think there's a lot of things to learn with like small techs, but you don't need them to be great. Like, at the end of the day, in this game that I just played with against Galio, I just E'd and then Q'd, and I did a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't think she's that hard. She has a lot of using the W on the ground, the shards pretty well. It can be complicated, but I don't think she's god tier. Let's try to place one god tier to set the bar as to what a god tier is. I would say Azir is maybe only for gods. Shut up, not Shogat. Shut up. I'm banning you if you say Shogat is god tier. What do we think about Azir as only for gods? I think he has a pretty weak early game, so he gets bullied pretty easily, so you have to know how to manage your laning phase. He has a hard combo that has a high skill ceiling. Like, the difference between shuffling, a good shuffle and a bad shuffle can be night and day. He has a bit of everything, I would give you that, so it's like he has a lot of things. He has safety with his dash, he has damage over time, he has good burst with his ult, but he's still pretty hard to pilot, so I will leave him in only for gods, I think. Typical pro champ, yeah. Oh, wait, let me tackle another one that I'm actually curious to know what you guys think about it. Oh, there she is. Nidalee. What do we think about Nidalee? Because if it was the common take, she's up here with Azir. Everyone always mentions Nidalee being with Azir as hard champions. But I don't think she's that hard. The thing is, I think she's pretty bad in general, but there is optimization to be had, especially on your jungle clear. But like, it's jungle clear. You're gonna learn it, and it's gonna be like, eventually you're gonna have it locked down, and you don't really adapt a lot. Yeah, it's true that Nidalee behind his ass, and there's a lot of potential to be had with her, because if you invade and everything, she can be really good at bullying the enemy jungler. But at the end of the day, she only realized, like, the hardest thing of her kit is the spear. And you could say that about anyone, like, Lux, the hardest part of her kit is the cage. But if you hit the cage, everything follows easily. I think I'm gonna knock her down to tough nut to crack. For now. Yeah, she's useless from behind, that's true, but... So is Azir, so is Anivia. She's kinda... I mean, no, she still has usefulness. You make a good point. She's not Azir... Okay, she might be at the bottom of Only for Gods. Sejuani. It's either brainwash or... I would say 2 brain cells fighting. Because you have to know when to engage, when not to engage. I guess it's the same with something like malphite, but... 2 brain cells? Okay, we agree. Okay, Aatrox. I would say... he might be... like... there is a talk to be had to make him Only for Gods. He has a lot of skill shots. Like skill shots with his Q, I mean. His Q has to be hit at the right spot to be super useful. You need to know your limits. Like, the difference between a good Aatrox and a bad Aatrox is insane. I think I might put him here. I would have a harder time playing him than playing Anivia. That might be because I'm used to mages, but I also think Anivia is more straightforward, whereas he is more adapting to the situation and what the enemy is answering to your plays. I would put him in Only for Gods. I would personally consider Aatrox to be harder than Nidalee. What's an average, dude? I don't know. Annie? Annie's average? Yeah, I would say Annie is average. She has a pretty hard laning phase. She has low range. But like, her combo is just press every button and hope that it's enough. I don't think she's super complicated. I don't think she has as many skill shots, for instance, as Zoe. So, I would say average. I see people putting her at Garen level. No. That's just not true. Annie cannot just mindlessly run into the enemy and then like... and just spin to win. 2 brain cells? Okay, fine. I can take that. I can agree. She has a... okay, she has a hard laning phase, though. Like, Skarner and Sejuani do not have a hard time at all in the games. Like, they're just doing their jungle, and... Annie has to survive the laning phase to be useful in late. Like, is it stupid in the sense that you can just Q the enemy, stun them, and then blow everything on them? Yes. She's limited by no mobility and low range, which is something you have to work around. So I think it takes skill. It takes surely more skill than just pressing R on Sejuani. I'm gonna put her here for now. Caitlyn. I would say... tough nut to crack. I would say tough nut to crack because she has some tech, like the net into W to guarantee a double headshot. It's not like the hardest thing to do ever. But you can see the difference really strongly between a hard Caitlyn, a good Caitlyn, and a bad Caitlyn. Oh, they removed all of her trap animation cancel? Really? She seems a lot easier than Zoe? I don't know. Are you sure about that? Because she has to be in range to attack the enemy. Zoe can be like on the other side of the screen. Her high range makes her easy to pick up. It's true that she's easy to pick up. Okay. I'll put her at the top of average, dude. In the comments, if you're mad at me for putting Caitlyn here, it's their fault. Because Caitlyn is often regarded as like the hardest ADC. Who's the hardest ADC? Is it Kalista? I would say Kalista is Only for Gods. She does have insane damage early, but if you're behind, you're useless. If you don't have great synergy with your support, she's useless. You need to kite like crazy all the time. You can see the difference between a bad jumper with her passive and a good jumper. Let's take a support. We haven't done any support for now. Oh, we have done Yumi, but Blitzcrank. I would say 2 brain cells fighting. I don't think it's really hard to play Blitzcrank. It's just land your hook or don't land your hook. And you can't really like bait a lot. I know that some people do like an animation to pretend like they're hooking so the enemy flashes away or something. I don't know. I think he's 2 brain cells. Talia. I think Talia is hard. The reason... Okay, I think Talia as a champion normally, she might be just here. But I think Talia has the extra pressure of having to play around the map. So this is where the micro comes into play, and that pushes her above these champions. Because Anivia realistically just has to wave clear non-stop. She doesn't have to think about, oh, I'm gonna engage, join my team, use my ult to get bot lane and change the fight. So that pushes Talia up here to me. I think Vex is average dude. She's most of the time she's really straightforward, like ult and then blow everything on the guy. But you also have to manage your passive pretty effectively. Let's do Jhin. Jhin has skill shots. That's something. Has skill shots. He has a decent range. The traps give him micro. Like he has to know where to put his traps. Is it average, dude? Let's do another ADC that's like hard to play. Oh, well, it's not quite an ADC, but I think this is a tough nut to crack. There's a lot of tech to be done. If you're behind on action, you don't do damage. It's kind of... It's hard. I would almost say it's harder to play against an action than to play action. Like his invisibility, you have to play around, but he just has it base kit. His E, it's hard to hit him during the swing, but he just swings. I don't think he's tough. Yeah, I know that Drutut... obviously Drutut is gonna say, oh, it's the hardest champion in the game to play. I don't think it is. At the end of the day, you're just dashing on the enemy, and either you have more damage or you don't. Ornn. 2 brain cells? I don't think it's brainwashed, because he has a hard laning phase. Average? Really? Ornn average? Okay, defend your case, because I'm not convinced right now. Let me do something that's like not too controversial. Melia is pretty easy to play. Probably 2 brain cells fighting. Could be brainwashed, but I think he's harder than Yumi, for instance. LeBlanc. Okay, LeBlanc has to be... She has... Her laning phase is kind of hard, because she does less damage if you land your full combo on LeBlanc and she lands her full combo on you. I think you do more damage as most mages. But the whole thing about LeBlanc is you have to avoid every attack with your dashes and everything. And her W, the issue is that it's her wave clear, but it's also her highest damage dealing attacks. So you have to know how to use it. I think she's potentially only for gods. There's a lot of potential. You can roam at all times. Move LeBlanc down. Damn. Okay. Okay, fine. I think I would highly disagree, but it seems to be the most what everyone agrees on. So, because to me, LeBlanc, it's all about her W. Yeah, I'm just explaining. Like, if you guys see my point, like LeBlanc has the only thing she has is W, whether it be an escape or an offensive tool. You have to be in her range of W for her to W you, and she's always maxing W, so either she's wave clearing, or she's using it offensively on you, but she doesn't have both. And it's on a really long cooldown early game. Yeah, okay, it's my list, I'll put her up here. You don't convince me with your arguments. Who am I picking next? Ezreal, okay. That's an ADC that's only for gods. It's kind of weird with Ezreal because it's a case of low skill floor, but so freaking high skill ceiling. Like a bad Ezreal is just gonna stay away from the fight and Q every once in a while. Whereas a great Ezreal is always gonna be in your face, always gonna auto attack at all time until he has dash. But even then, he's gonna do damage with his dash. He's not just gonna dash away when there's no threat. Nico. Nico is... I'm kind of tempted to put her in 2 brain cells fighting, to be honest. Like... her game plan in lane is the stupidest thing ever. The only thing that might bump her up is the fact that she can fuck the enemies with her passive, right? Transform into minion to fuck with the enemy. But like, her Q has insane range and is so easy to hit. You constantly proc your combat in lane. Your E goes really fast when it goes through minions. I guess you can brain... yeah, I guess you have some trickery power with your W and your passive. That might bump her up. But she's like pretty stupid. Like, at the end of the day, it's just big ult, big damage. MF. How stupid is MF? I would say 2 brain cells fighting. There's like an argument to be made where she has to pivot between 2 targets to keep her passive on. But in reality, no one does that. And MF is brainwashed. I would say being an ADC automatically puts you above brainwashed in a way. Yeah, Unit, I kind of agree with this. The easiest ADC is still gonna be smarter than the stupidest tank. She is a caster, not an ADC, but she does rely still on auto attack sometimes, and she doesn't have the craziest range. Like, pressing R on malphite is always gonna be easier than knowing when to press R and where to press R on MF, because you have the threat of being squishy at all time. Whereas malphite is tank, so he doesn't care. Lulu. How hard is Lulu to play? Easy for sure. But there is a difference between a good Lulu and a bad Lulu. So at the very least, 2 brain cells fighting might be higher because... Oh, there's also... Do you consider Lulu mid or is it purely Lulu support? Her damage, like... Her damage combo is really stupid. Like, it's just E the enemy Q. So it's not really hard to play. But you have to know if you want to W your teammate or the enemy, for instance. Amumu. Amumu is pretty stupid, not gonna lie. I think it might be brainwashed. Like, it doesn't take 2 brain cells to play Amumu, you just need 1. Like, bandage toss into ults, and that's about it. I don't know if there's more to say about the champion in general. Okay, Bard! Let's go! Okay, so... In the server, they said Bard is like top tier, like super hard to play, top 5 champions hard to play. I would say that's very not the case. I would say it's either tough nut to crack or average dude. You could say, like, cause like, the argument is what? What is the argument in favor of Bard? That's what I'm not necessarily getting. Like, what is hard about him? Knowing when to ult and knowing when to roam. Apart from that, his kit in and of itself, it's not really that hard. Like, you stun the enemy that's in front of you, you set up some heals for your teammates. The roaming part is the hardest, like knowing when you have to tunnel behind the enemy to gank mid lane. But it's more on the enemies to not do the mistake rather than you make a play. It's not like a Lee Sin doing a ward hop kick, where that's like, whoa, okay, you actually pressed a lot of buttons in quick succession. Yeah, I think the roam timing is the hardest thing about Bard, but so you think it's tough just because of this? I would be down for that. He can't fuck up your team like no other. That's true. His ult can be a troll ult. So, yeah. I would put him in tough nut to crack. Maybe higher, I will see after if I want to order it. Kled? Okay. Where's Kled? K. Where's K in the alphabet? I'm so bad at this. Kled. Kane? Kled has to be around. Here. Okay. Got it. Kled. You have to figure out when you want to use your W, like the auto attacks. Know when to engage. Land your Q, which is not the hardest kill shots to land. Kled is hard with passive. What do you mean by this? Is it like once you're dismounted, you're kind of useless, so you have to remount? Remount limit testing with the remount. Okay, that I can get behind. Tough nut to crack. Does that sound fair? I don't think he's only for gods. I think that's a bit too far. Let's put Morgana. Morgana is all about hitting the bind, but the bind is really freaking hard to hit. Hello, Auric. Welcome. We're doing a skill tier list. How hard are each champion to play? Morgana is brainwashed. No. She has skill shots. I mean, I guess you could say Amumu has skill shots, but Morgana's skill shot is so much harder to hit than Amumu. And she has her black shield that she needs to use on the right target at the right time. She's yeah, I think she's 2 brain cells, but probably like one of the highest 2 brain cells. Because hitting Q is really hard. Need to know when to use black shield. The pool is literally useless. She has no passive. You know, you have to know how to use your ult, because otherwise you might just go in and die. Because she's squishy even though her ult is melee ranged. Maybe 3 brain cells. Yeah, she's 3 brain cells. But obviously she's not average, dude. I don't think so. Wait, I wanted to do Lee Sin. I think this is going straight to only for gods. The amount of like button press you have to do when you want to do a combo, like Q ward hop kick, is pretty hard. Or Q ward hop flash kick, that's pretty damn hard. Now you can play Lee Sin at like a low floor, right? You can just be like Q the enemy, E, attack, ult, and then they're dead. Or ult into Q and it's guaranteed. But like a good Lee Sin will make the difference, so only for gods. Who's next? Jinx, my initial main. She's the basic ADC. She needs to kite like no other. And she has no dashes, so she has to be mindful of her positioning. I would say average dude. In the meantime, I'm gonna place Leona in 2 brain cells fighting. It's not brainwashed because she has to roam to be fully useful. So it takes a bit of brain cells, but not too much. Tryndamere, Olaf, and Trundle. Okay, let's do that. Trundle. Is he brainwashed? I don't think he's a stat checker, which is kind of stupid. And your game plan is basically smite your enemy until they die. So yeah, it might be brainwashed. Might be brainwashed. I thought I would not put him brainwashed because I think he has a bit more brain than malphite. But yeah, when I think about it, he doesn't have any tech. It's just know your damage. Mundo. Is Mundo brainwashed as well? He has a skill shot with his Q. Yeah, he just beats you. Yeah, that's him for you. Brainwashed? Yeah, I could see it. He does have like... he has to land his Q, but other than this, he does a lot of damage for a tank. He's hard in lane for being dog shit in lane. Oh, is he that bad in lane? Like, having to deal with a bad lane can push him to 2 brain cells. But it's pretty smart to... Like, it's pretty funny to put Mundo in the brainwash, because that's pretty lore accurate. We'll leave him here. Braum, big buffy dude. I would say average dude. I think to make the most of Braum, you have to do what Leona does, plus some. Plus thinking about where your teammate is and how you have to position and who you have to focus in order to save your teammate. Because Leona is all about offense. Braum can be offensive, but he also has to keep in mind that he has to be defensive sometimes. Zyra. So Zyra is the jungler now. I guess we judge her as a jungler. She's not really hard. Like, place plans, ults, and kill enemies. Braum average is generous. I think it's fine. I think he takes more brain than Leona, for instance. Zyra. I would say she's 2 brain cells. Like, it's pretty easy to just poke the enemy. Her jungle clear, she takes no damage. So yeah, she's just gonna go in 2 brain cells. You could say that she has an E and it's like pretty slow and she has to land it. It's a skill shot, but I'm not buying it. Akali. It's between those two. It's kind of hard because Akali is hard to pilot sometimes, in lane especially, but Doran's Shield second win exists, and that alone makes her laning not as bad as it should be. And once she gets her hands on you, you're dead. She has more damage than anyone else. There are some tech, but the stupidest tech is in Akali. It's her R into E that guarantees the E from hitting. So at the end of the day, you don't really have to blend your E because it's auto lock with the R. I guess the only real skill shot is your R2, and that's easy to hit. So I'm gonna leave her in tough nut to crack because I think that once you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy. Yeah, the combo R E is so stupid, and that alone makes her tough nut instead of gods. Hybridinger. Funnily enough, like I think it takes a bit of brain to play Hybridinger. Yes, it's just like place turrets down and hope that the enemies run into it. Yeah, I mean actually it's kind of bad. Yeah, it's kind of 2 brain cells. Never mind. I was like, maybe he's smart. He's all about being smart and being crafting stuff. No, he's a bit stupid. Yeah, I guess he's like very unique, so you need to get the hang of it. But once you have the hang of it, it's just like rinse and repeat. No adaptation. Aurelian Soul. New Aurelian Soul, not the old one. The old one was definitely up here. The new one is way easier to play. It's basically breathe on your enemy. In lane, you just poke with Q and proc your comets. I don't think he's brainwashed. I mean, it's really easy to just W towards the enemy and Q. And you're gonna win most of your trades against most people in mid lane with it. But I would say two brain cells. Just based off the fact that he needs to scale. He has resets, I guess, and he has an ult. No, laning is actually not that bad. You would be surprised at how many people Aurelian Soul can kill level 2. Because you just W forward and Q, and like, you're gonna outtrade most people, like Orianna, for instance. I'm not speaking from experience. There's no reason why I'm picking Orianna in particular. It's not like I was playing against an Aurelian Soul and he was just breathing fire on me and I was dying. Yeah, he has really decent laning. He has good poke with his Q spam for the comets. Yeah, I would say 2 brain cells. Could be brainwashed, honestly. Which is sad. Like, he went from one of the hardest champions to play to, like, just breathe. Breathe on your enemy. Hold your mouse towards the enemy. Aesol is mid-lane version of Mundo. You think so? I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would go that far. Ashe. Ashe, I would say 2 brain cells because a lot of her kit is given to her for free. Like macro, you don't really have to think about it because it's just gonna happen. You're gonna have your bird and you're gonna throw it and you're gonna get all the information you need. So you don't need to think about where the enemy jungler is, or how you have to place your wards. It's just done for you. And yeah, high utility even from behind. I guess you have the scale ceiling of hitting an ult across the map. That's a skill, but that's just one skill, and that's all she has for her, so... Probably even easier than MF? I don't know about that. Ashe kiting can be really intense in some situations. Does Velvet only for gods? I don't know. I think she's tough nut to crack. There's a lot to be done with her. Like, early game, you have to do a lot to be strong, and if you're behind, you're absolutely useless. But her advantage state is absolutely insane. Like, if you're ahead as Velvet, no one can take you. And that's just like, there's no counterplay, it's not fun. So, like, it's so stupid, the amount of dashes she has, that I think it makes it harder to put her above. Velvet is Void Yi. With a bit more skill, I would say. Yi would be lower, for sure. I think Velvet is definitely harder than LeBlanc. Why so? Okay. Give arguments. I might change my mind, but I want to hear why. What's hard about Velvet? Knowing when to engage, to invade. Getting your lead early. And you're so predictable in the sense that you're going for grubs that enemies are often gonna fight about it. But it's nothing that a strong mid lane and top lane can't fix. Like if you have prio mid and top, you're pretty much free. Mainly my thing is a lot of Velvet players don't know how to do is cycle their Qs properly, so they easily get caught without nothing. Yeah. Well, LeBlanc has free escape. Like, I would disagree with this. I think people overestimate LeBlanc's escape in the sense that if LeBlanc trades with you, she's using W. If LeBlanc uses her W, she has no more escape. So oftentimes I would call my jungler and say, look, she's going to engage me like all LeBlancs do. Use her W on me, and that's when you engage, and then she has nowhere to go. You have to know how and when to use your W as LeBlanc, and that's the hardest part about the champion, I think. Okay, let's move on from Velvet. Teemo? Teemo. 2 brain cells? That seems pretty correct. Is he brainwashed? He's squishy. He's squishy, and some champions his blind is completely useless against. I guess he only has to Q and then E and then place traps everywhere. You know what? I like having a ranged champion in brainwashed. I would say being ranged is automatically harder than being melee. Oh, well, not really, because lane is easier. He has a really easy time in lane. It's just Q and auto attack. He has a free speed boost. His ult is stupid. Yeah, okay. Sion. We talked about it. I thought this is like... I would say maybe tough nut to crack. It might be a bit crazy to say. Okay, compare him to Ornn. Who's harder between Sion and Ornn? Sion is average. I think the big difficulty about Sion is knowing when to go tank, when to go bruiser, when to go lethality, when to group with your team, when to split push, when to proxy is pretty hard, how to survive while proxying. I would say optimize Sion is harder than Ornn as well. Okay, we'll leave them both in here. I'm fine with this. Echo. Echo is pretty damn stupid. Yeah, I think he's stupid. I was considering putting him in average because you have to know where your R is when you don't level it up so you can go back to it. And you have to land your W. Like, the stun is important, but it's not that important. Oftentimes, the Echo is gonna miss his W, do like a shit ton of damage, and kill you. Like, okay. Couldn't you land your one skill shot at least? Yeah, that's the thing. The W is the only thing that's like pretty hard to guess where the enemy is gonna be. But you don't really have to. Like, you could play Echo with only E, Q, and R, and you would be fine. You would still be strong. No, I mean, I guess he can be higher than Leona, but he could also be like at the top of 2 brain cells, but I don't think he's really complicated. Soraka. Soraka is fairly easy to play. She has a really strong laning phase. It's hard to lose the lane as Soraka. But she has the downside of being targeted by everyone. Everyone wants her ass, and I don't blame them. I want her ass too, but like, leave the girl alone. I think she's still like at the top of 2 brain cells fighting. I don't think she's too complicated. And you can play her like a heal bot. You don't have to do much. Has to play around the weakness of almost every enchanter. Yes and no. Would you say that Lulu gets targeted as hard as Soraka does? I think Soraka gets targeted way harder because she heals. And her cooldowns are really low, so... Soraka is actually hard for the positioning required while killing herself and actually being a lane bully. Yeah. I would agree. She's like not the easiest. But she's still... Like, she can still press W and be fine, you know? What are you arguing for? Are you arguing for her to be average? Or... Because she's obviously not tough nut to crack. She could be average. I don't mind that. You tell me if you want her to be average. I'll do that for you. This is From me to you, Tikao, I would do that for you. Soraka is harder than Asol, or honestly. Yeah, because she has to like manage her. Yeah, I will buff her up a spot. I can do that. Aphelios. 5,000 billion years champion. At the very least, tough nut to crack. I think he's only for gods. I think individually, like, it's really easy to play with the green gun, for instance. But the hard thing to do is knowing how to cycle your weapon to make it so you always have two strong weapons together. Yeah, I think he can be up here. I guess it's like 3 ADCs being on at the top together. 2 mages? No, 3 mages. I guess she's also a mage. I would say she's more of a jungler. 2 junglers and 1 top lane for now. It's my tier list. Janna supports. Janna supports. There's a lot of things to do with Janna. The insect, even though it's not super useful most of the time, it can come in handy. Your tornado, there's a big difference between a not charged tornado and a charged tornado. So you have to predict enemies' movements. She has to roam, but not too much. Yeah, I would say she's average. Elise, okay, now, I think Elise is only for the gods. We're talking about Elise jungle, I think. You have to know what you're doing with Elise, otherwise you're just gonna be useless. Like, if you don't dive with Elise, you're not playing Elise. You have to dive all the time, and you have to know how to juggle the turret aggro. You don't have the strongest 1v1, so you have to play around your team. Only for the gods, Elise jungle, yeah. Whereas Elise support is maybe a bit more stupid. Shogun! Either low 2 brain cells, or I think it's brainwashed. Like, being able to land the Q, slow the enemy, run at him, and then just spam your E and then one-shot the person is kind of stupid. The only reason why I was considering putting him in 2 brain cells is that he has to land the Q to do anything. But, like, come on. It's not that hard. Elise, no, Evelyn. Evelyn is hard. She's squishy, but she also has the ability of being always invisible, which is kind of OP. Average? Could be tough nut to crack. What do you guys think? She's squishy. If the enemy team groups, she's kind of useless. But on the other hand, she has a lot of free stuff, like being invisible, putting map pressure all the time. And a lot of damage for assassinations. And it's kind of hard to counterplay her. Yeah, average sounds fair. I think she's average. Shaco! Are we talking AP or AD Shaco? Because AP Shaco would be like up here, maybe even for the gods. But I think AD Shaco is way more straightforward and way more stupid. So I would say tough nut to crack to like balance out the AP and the AD. Because like if you're AD, what's the difficulty? You just go invisible and you run up the person and you try to kill them. There's no like big depth to the character when you're AD. Shaco is god tier. Yeah, see, we have some people saying god tier. He's very divisive, and I would say as AP he's god tier. As AD he's more like average or 2 brain cells. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave him in tough nut to crack because some people want gods, some people want brainwash. So, Shaco is only for gods. Yeah, I think his potential is up here, especially if he's AP. But the AD version, like, you don't really have mechanics to play around. So, like, could you do stuff as AD Shaco, like baiting with your clone and then pretending like you're... Yeah, but it's not gonna do as much because your clone doesn't do shit. Cartouche. You've gotta land your Qs. You can just run down and press E and people die around you. I would say 2 brain cells. R is free damage on everyone on the map. You do have to know how to invade. Not really, you can clear your jungle. The thing with cartouches is you have to always be optimizing your path. Because if you stop farming for like a minute, you're gonna be behind in the game. Oh, Galio! My best friend! 2 brain cells? Brainwashed? I would say brainwashed. Like it would be generous to say he's 2 brain cells. Like you just have to press R, or EWQ. You know, like his laning is really free against most mages. You only pick him as a counter pick. It's gonna be easy. Yeah, high brainwashed I think is fair. I mean, I just destroyed one, but that doesn't mean that he's not absolutely stupid. I mean, the player was as stupid as the champion is, so that's unfortunate for him. Orianna takes skill. She's an annoying lane bully, so in that sense, maybe like her laning phase is way easier than Italia or an Azir. But there's a lot of dashes nowadays. It's kind of hard to get a good 4-man shockwave, for instance. Yeah, I would say tough nut to crack. Ori's average. I say she has less tools at her disposition than something like a Kali. Like, she has no self-heal. I guess she has a bit of movement speed on her. She has E and W, but she has no dashes. Lending her abilities on someone who has high movement speed is rough. She doesn't have insane damage for what she is, like a burst mage. And landing a shockwave on multiple people has become harder and harder with time. Yeah, I think she's pretty hard. She's not your average mage. This is more Lux. Like, Lux should be average. Because she's your average mage. Yeah, we are master. We have to keep that in mind. Lux average is generous. Like, she has skill shots. You can't take that away from her. All of her kit is skill shots. I don't think she's 2 brain cells. She's harder to play than Echo. Harder to be effective on. Okay, her ulting the wave and dipping is dumb, I would agree. She has some dumb mechanics, and her E is really hard to dodge. But like... Nico has a really easy Q to land. And she has a hard time facing like a Syndra or even Hwei. She can get fucked over. Syndra is the average mage now. She's not really hard too, but like Syndra has some tech, whereas Lux has no tech. I think she would be a bottom average, whereas Syndra would be high average. Where's Syndra? Syndra. High average? Yeah. Because, like, what's the hardest tech to do with Syndra? I would say it's like QWE. Like doing 2 balls and then throwing them at the same time. Why did we put her in here? Don't you think Morgana is average? Is she brain cell? 2 brain cells fighting? I feel like I have a harder time playing Morgana than Milio, for instance. Morgana is brainwashed. Okay, I'm not touching her. Sorry. My bad. Karma. Karma is really fucking stupid. No matter which position she's in, mid lane, top lane, or support, even ADC should be fine. She's stupid. You just link with the enemy, you wait for them to be stunned, and then you RQ. That's it. Yeah, I think it might be brainwashed, honestly. You have to roam, but like... Okay. Leona has to know when to engage, whereas Karma doesn't have to think about it. She can just always poke in from afar and do her thing. Yeah, I would agree. I think Sona is harder to play than... Right, let's do Sona. I think Sona is harder to play than Karma. Because Sona has a weak laning phase. Whereas Karma has a strong laning phase. So I think Sona might still be brainwashed. Because, like... You just press your abilities and the spell does itself. Yeah. Don't you think that Sona is harder to play than Karma? No, I don't think she's a lane bully. I mean, maybe to a Leona, but that's if the Leona is bad. Sona is not hard, but limited compared to Karma. And they kind of have the same utility. Like, they do a bit of damage and peel. And in that sense, I feel like she's way harder to survive on and get to the late game. Now, is she stupider in late game? Sure, but... Yeah, she's pretty bad. I would agree. Sona is quite awful. Sona's arena is brainwashed. We're not doing arena. That'd be a whole other kind of worm. Lilia. I would say average. She's not really hard to play. Like, she zooms at max speed, she queues the whole team, and then she sleeps them. Yeah, she's not really hard. That's the kind of champion where people might think she's hard because she has to do the sweet spot on the queue. But you just get the hang of it really quickly. Kennen. A top laner. Or a mid laner? I don't know, honestly. Kennen. I think his laning phase is pretty easy. He has to know when to engage, but it's not really that deep. It's kind of like malphite, you just press in. I think 2 rain cells would be fair. Kennen average? Why would it be average instead of 2 brain cells? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if malphite is over here, he just presses R and goes in. What does Kennen do? Presses R and goes in. And Kennen has a decent laning phase unlike malphite. He sucks from behind. Yeah, but then that's like... Everyone kind of sucks from behind. Or like, maybe not everyone. Like, Ashe, I guess, is not awful from behind, but... Range stops are not easy. I agree. But then we have Teemo over here. Teemo is in brainwashed. He's a range stop. Yeah, true. Malphite from behind doesn't care. That's true. So would you... Okay, I'm gonna put him in average. I don't mind doing that. Rammus. Rammus is very stupid. There's no tech. It's just run at the enemy, taunt them, and hope they die. Brainwashed? Sounds correct. Brainwashed deluxe. True. Bye, Rammus. Who's this guy? Varush. Varush. Scale shots. His R makes it a bit more stupid, but there's 2 different builds, lethality and attack speed, that you can adapt. I would say average. Like, I think these 2 are a great example of what do you value more. Do you think Jinx is harder to play because you have to kite, and kiting is hard, and she has... yeah, that's pretty much it. Or do you say Varus is harder because he has to land skill shots? Jinx is easier? I think I would agree. I think landing your skill shots on Varus is harder. And you have like this whole like W, you have to proc stacks. Low-key hard because he has 2 stances. Maybe high average, but definitely not hard, I think. Ahri. I don't know. She's not the easiest, but she's not the hardest. Once you get the hang of it, it's just like dash towards your enemy, charm. Landing the charm can be tricky though, and like that's probably a harder thing to land than probably Syndra's stun, for instance. No, I don't think she's 2 brain cells. I think she's average somewhere here. Like she's harder to play than Lux, I would say. Which build are you talking about, Auric? What do you go on Ahri? Because I'm not a Roa build fanatics. I think it's useless and stupid. And stupid, as in like plays really easily. She's not brainwashed. Like she has fairly low range for a mage. She gets outranged by Syndra, Lux, Hwei, Nico. Everyone outranges her, so her laning phase is not that easy. She doesn't have the craziest damage. The only stupid thing about her is her ult that resets. So I would agree that it's not the hardest thing ever. But you still have to land your Q, you have to land your charm. You have some skill expression with charm flash. Yeah, I play her at full AP, so I guess that's also why I take that. Yeah, it's just the ult, but before 6 she doesn't have ult, so you have to remember that. She has decent trading pattern with Otto's W auto, but she has low range, so... Yeah, I think she's fair here. Seraphine! Seraphine, are we talking... Wait, I'm just putting her here to talk about it. Are we talking about support Seraphine or mid lane Seraphine? I guess her most played role is support. And as a support, I think she's fairly easy to play, like 2 brain cells. As a mid laner, it gets a bit harder. Ah, she doesn't exist in mid lane. Fuck. Then I would put her in 2 brain cells. Really easy wave clear. Lots of CC. shield the whole team. I guess a bit of skill shots, but the skill shots are really wide, so it's not hard to land. Yeah. Poppy! Poppy. It's not very complicated, but you still have to like position yourself or flash towards the wall to stun them inside the wall. I would say 2 brain cells is correct. You have to know which you need to get out of the fights. That's actually a big skill factor of Poppy. So okay, so I'm gonna keep her in brain cells then, so it makes a balance. Let's do Illaoi. Illaoi, I've played her a few times, not a lot. I think she's pretty hard to play. She plays like no other champion. Like she has her Bastion, and she like you have to run into her. So I think tough nut to crack is fair. She seems complicated for a top laner. You'd say average? Yeah, I would say hard for her uniqueness. That's my line of thought. Because no one else plays like her, and like for instance, Jax, he just smacks stuff, whereas Illaoi has to land a few spells to be completely useful, like her E. And if the enemy knows how to play against you, it's really hard. Yeah, exactly. If the opponent knows her, then they're not gonna go in, and she's gonna have a hard time laning or doing anything. Like she doesn't have the biggest tech though, so maybe average. But you know what? We don't have enough tough nut to crack, so let's put her here. Is generous? Okay, fine. She's gonna be high average then. We'll see if we put another tier over here to see if we can put her in it. Cause she doesn't have tech per se, like she doesn't have combos but she has a few skill shots. She's melee. She requires the enemies to make a mistake. Here's another tough nut for you, Rumble. I don't know about that. To be honest. I understand the logic. Like, there is optimization to be had with Rumble. But at the end of the day, most Rumbles just E, and then run at you with Q activated. And it just burns you, and there's no big counterplay. If you have less damage, you just have less damage. I think he's average. Yeah, I think he's average. And like, people pictured his ult as like this, oh my god, there's so much potential. He could put it against the wall to force the enemy to be inside of it. Yeah, okay, that's all he can really do, you know? Like, yes, he can cut off the enemy's path, but okay. That means that he has a lot of range on it. That's for free. He is really competitive viable as well, yeah. And it's for a reason, because like, he's a good stat checker, always useful even from behind. Game-changing ult. That's a lot of tools that make him not that hard, I would say. Like, definitely harder than Kennen, though. I'm tempted to put Kennen down here. Let's put him in brain cells. Shen. I think Shen is... I've played against one not long ago with my Karma top. I destroyed him, but I was surprised at how much damage he was doing. It's quite insane. So, like, if it was just this... Like, if you take the ult away from the equation, he's really easy to play. Like, 2 brain cells. But then you have the ult, so you have to know when you can go away, when you have to roam, when you can TP back to lane. So in this sense, I think he's a tough nut to crack. Because he has so many options, and you have to pick correctly. Yeah, that's the thing. I would say too, if it was without the ults. Because I played against it, and the damage that he was doing was insane. Yeah, but you do lose a lot top if you... Like, if you play against a Kayle, you're screwed if you ult away and you can't get back fast. So you have to manage your stuff. I think he's not easy. Kayle is really hard early levels. Gets easier with time and gets completely OP later, but she still has to auto attack. I don't know. She has to auto attack. Whoa, crazy. I would say high average maybe. I don't know if she's a tough nut to crack, because yes, she has a hard time early, but it gets easier, like way easier. And she becomes insanely OP later, so... Kaylee's Mundo. Tikeo, can you stop using Mundo as like this like base level? Everyone is Mundo with something on top of it. Yeah, I think average is fair. Corky. Corky has skill shots, but oftentimes he doesn't fucking need them. He will just W towards you with his E active and Q and then auto attack to death. So I think he's really stupid. Now, is he stupider than... like, is he brainwashed? I don't think so. I think 2 brain cells is fair. Mundo is Mundo, but Mundo. True. Okay, we'll do Smolder to get rid of the ugly image. What do we think about Corky? Is this fair? I think he's really easy. You tell me. 2 is fair, okay. Smolder. Hard early game. Can get destroyed by most people. That's why you pick him as a counter pick. So in the sense of a UR counter pick, I think he becomes fairly good and easy to play. Like 2 brain cells kind of thing. Smolder is ADC Mundo. I don't know if it's just for the Mundo joke, but I don't think he's quite as easy as Smolder. As Mundo. Let's pick something weird. Like Senna. Oh. Okay, I think that's gonna be our first support that cracks the top ranks. And might even be only for gods. Like the potential for Senna is insane. But it's hard to realize. Like to put it into work. You can put your Q to hit your teammate and the enemy at the same time. Oh, you think Zoe as a support? I think Zoe as a support is way easier, so she would almost be here if she was considered as support. I really want to put Senna up here, but I feel like it's a bit of a lie to say that she's actually only for gods. I gotta ask what makes Senna hard. First of all, she doesn't have the strongest laning phase. Like, if you take Tristana, Leona, and you put them against whatever Senna is gonna lose. Because Senna has really low damage. So Leona's gonna engage, and she's gonna win the trade because Senna is like over here just shooting at her like, stop touching my ADC. So you have to prevent them from getting on top of you. Which you could say is the same case for everyone, but I think it's really harder with Senna because you always have to attack the enemy to be useful. Yeah, she's really bad against engage. She's bad against mages as well. So she only does really good against enchanters because she outscales them. And she becomes strong, but at any point if you fall behind, you're useless. Like, completely useless. Not Lulu useless, because Lulu always has the shield, the polymorph. Senna has nothing else but damage. I guess she has like a stun on her W. And like the invisibility, but no one uses that really, so... I think she's pretty hard to play. I hope I convinced you. I hope this speech was enough to convince you that she's pretty hard. Gnar. I think there's a lot of potential for Gnar. He can be game breaking. He's at least tough nut to crack. Might be only for gods. The thing holding it back is that he's a ranged top laner, which is fairly easy for his laning phase. Yeah, I agree that he's really hard. I think it's hard to manage his forms correctly. Sometimes you're gonna transform when you don't want to. You can be like super impactful in fights, but you have to position correctly. You have to be on the flank at the right time, at the right moment. So I can see him being really hard, but his laning phase is really easy. Range stop is cringe. Yeah, that's the thing. Range stop is fairly easy. I think he's gonna stay in top nut to crack for now. He could be like one of the highest top nut to crack though. Kai'Sa. What do we say about Kai'Sa? Kai'Sa is fairly hard. But she has too many tools for everything. So that makes her pretty stupid. Like, she has potential. Almost like infinite potential. But she also has too much for it to be fair. So it feels like 5,000 years design. Yeah, I would say she's average. Because, like, I do agree that she has insane potential, but she's also insanely broken most of the time. Like, an ADC that has invisibility, a dash, range with her W, burst option with the Q. That's a bit much. So a bit overtuned. Hello, Pala. Welcome. AP Assassin, yeah. Yeah, this is a huge roster. We should move faster. Wait, let's do a quick fire round. Okay, this is really easy. 2 brain cells or brainwash? I think his laning phase is not that easy. I would say brainwash still. Another stupid champion. Xerath is 2 brain cells, I would say. His skill shots are super easy to land. It's not that hard. The only thing is that if he's behind, he's useless. But if he's ahead, he's completely stupid. Zac is fairly stupid. I would say brainwashed or 2 brain cells. My hot take is that Miles is the easiest champion in the game after Yumi. Miles has like, he doesn't have the easiest laning phase ever. A lot of people can just like prevent him from getting close to the wave, and then he cannot do his like wave clear combo or like put his disease on it. So I'm not sure he's the stupidest champion. Let's do it. Is there any other completely stupid champion? I would say Aurora is not that hard to play, and she's fairly effective for what she does. Like 2 brain cells sounds fair for her? Question mark? Yeah, but that's because you're playing your mid laner against Malzahar is too passive. You know what I mean? Like if Miles can get to the wave and auto push lane, that's because your mid laner is not playing well. Your mid laner should be between the wave and the Malzahar to prevent him from touching the wave. And most mid laners in a front on front one-on-one trade with Malzahar, most mid laners will win against him. That's why being in between the wave and him is easy to do for most people. Tryndamere is brainwashed. Where is he? I would agree with it as well. Xante might be 2 brain cells, because there are skill shots. He's a bit overtuned, but as a design, we're talking more design than overtunedness or not. Tryndamere. Brainwashed, I agree. Nocturne is fairly stupid. There's not really any tech. It's just when to ult, where to ult. That's about it. Cassante is really hard. Oh. Are you trolling me? No, you're honest. So you're saying because he's overtuned, so we think he's easy, but as a concept and as a kit, he's fairly hard? I played him a few times. I didn't find it too hard. But then again, we have to keep into the account that we are fairly high elo. Okay, I'm down to bump him up to average. I can see the vision of like, he has a lot of spells, different spells, and they kind of combo into each other. You have to be against a wall to use your ults. Yeah, I don't think he's super hard. Like, you're acting as if I said like, he's not super hard, he's not godlike. Yeah, I guess high skill ceiling, high skill floor, you would say? I don't think he's God. I don't know. If you've ever played Cassante in high elo, like I guess it's unfair to say, but he has an answer to everything. All of this champion he has answers to. Like he has too many answers to too many matchups. No bad matchups, a lot of base damage, a lot of base tankiness. I guess he has like a fairly complicated kit because there's a lot going on, but it kind of flows together to create something a bit too strong. Yeah, he's broken, so it makes it easier. Like we said that, for instance, let me take someone who's a melee character that struggles. wait. Oh fuck, I can't find anything. Like Ornn, we say that Ornn has a hard time and he's that high because he's that weak in lane. He's so weak that everyone fucks him over. So he's hard to play. Cassante is kind of the opposite. If he was undertuned and like pretty bad, he would maybe be here because he has the kit to go there. but he's so overtuned and has such an easy time against most of the cast that he's here. Ornn has great early laning phase, by the way. He struggles after. I mean, I don't know. Unit was saying that he gets fucked by most people. And I would agree. Like, whenever I played against Ornn, I would destroy him. Okay, but we all agree that Ornn is not that hard. And I think Cassante is not that hard as well. That's the point. Like, Cassante is hard on paper, but then he has too many free matchups, so he's not that hard. Ornn is definitely easier than Cassante mechanically. I agree. The mechanics of Cassante are fairly hard. The issue doesn't come from his mechanics, it comes from his power level. And I guess I said, like, it's unfair to compare power levels because they can change with buffs and nerfs. The thing is, with Cassante, we got so many nerfs that we know he's never gonna be balanced. Because his kit has everything. His tank, his DPS, his assassin, his crowd control, his peel, he has a shield. You know what I mean? There's so much. Putting Cassante in the same tier as Annie is a lot. Annie has bad matchups. What are Cassante's bad matchups? Yeah, but okay. Cassante is bullshit, but hard to get there. Annie is very not bullshit, but easy to get there. You know what I mean? One is like just almost the strongest top laner, but it's hard to get there. But the other one is a weak mid laner, and is easy to get there. Is that like... Does it mean she's easier? Like, she's still hard to pilot because she's weak. And she's always fairly weak because of her design choices. It's a how hard is the champion? Yes, but you have to take into account the things that make the champion. Annie is not weak because her numbers are low. She's weak by design. She has a low range, she's predictable, she requires her flash to make plays. She, you know... Like, I would agree that Annie might be lower average dude. You know what? I'm down to bump him up to tough nut to crack. I will not go for only for gods, that's for sure. Okay, fine, you got it. Here, he's in tough nut to crack. I agree. No, because Sona is not hard to pilot. Like, okay. Annie, design-wise, has low range, is hard to play, squishy. She has like so many weaknesses. Sona is not low range. She's not hard to play. She doesn't have hard mechanics. She doesn't even have skill shots. Nor does Annie. But Sona doesn't require you to fight 1v1 against the enemy. You're kind of coasting through. You're there. You do stuff. She's the shortest range mage in the game. It's not easy. Like, Annie in top elo, there's a reason there's like almost no Annie in top elo, because she's not versatile and she's super predictable and easy to abuse. Sona is kind of the same, but Sona is more a question of numbers. And some characters are easy, but easy to play and effective. Like Sona is fairly effective. She sucks, but she's effective at what she does. Like if you want to peel, you can take Sona. I don't know, I'm not making myself too clear, honestly. Even I'm confusing myself. But I think Annie is definitely much harder than Xerath, for instance. Because Xerath has the advantage of having so much range that he shits on most lanes for free. Whereas Annie has to earn her wins really hard. There aren't... Yeah, okay, that's why I thought my arguments were bad. I would disagree. I think there are quite a few Garens in high elo, actually. That's the issue. Garen is stupid easy to play, but also stupid strong. Okay, news champ time. Taric. I think Taric is hard to play. Taric is hard to play because you have to know when to ult. He gets a bit stupid with some pairing like Master Yi. But in and of itself, like I'm not gonna judge him for his pairings. Okay, no, we're not talking about her auto attack range. Because her auto attack range is really large, everyone knows that, but it's about the other spells that she has to land. She doesn't have to land auto attacks. She has to land spells. Oh, okay. Yeah, she has a really high range. Oh yeah, you said it earlier. Sorry. Taiki is tough. Yeah, I agree. Kha'Zix. I don't think there's too much skill involved with Kha'Zix. There's always a skill of like knowing when to go in, what to do. But he's a bit less committal than something like Nocturne, which could be a benefit, but also like it could make him harder in the sense that you have to know when to weave in and out, whereas Nocturne you have to go in all the time. So I don't know. I'm almost tempted to push him above. He could be average dude. Like, he is an average dude. Yeah, I think that's fair. Plus, he has those mechanics that you need to attack people that are isolated and stuff like that. He's stupid on a one-on-one in the jungle, for instance, but you have to play around him. Okay, Nilla. I've seen you for too long. I think she's easier than people seem to think she is. I would say maybe tough nut to crack because she has fairly low range and she's a bit committal, but she has tools like W, which is super stupid, and her ult does a lot. But she's not the easiest like pick and plug kind of ADC. You still have to put in time into her to know how she works. Yeah, being melee in bot lane is hard. She's not that melee. I mean, she still has a bit of range with her whip. Oh, let's do the fight between those two. I always compare them. Samira is harder. I don't know. Samira has a lot of things that are easy for her. Like, she has higher range, I think. She has the Q that has an insanely good range. She's combo based. I think both are tough nuts to crack. She can farm, yeah. Okay, but that's not the only thing. Like, just because you can farm from afar doesn't mean you're easy. Like Annie, she has a long attack range, so she can farm from afar. And yet she's fairly difficult because you need to get up in here. I guess she has like the whole combo thing, but once you know how it combos, it's fairly easy to proc it, and she does way more damage AoE. I would say Nilla is harder to play. We're not ordering the tiers, but there's that. Okay, Bren. Bren is fairly stupid. You can just toss all of your spells and it will do stuff. There's one skill shot for real. It's the Q. The rest is not really skillful. Nilla is the hardest ADC in the game. I don't think so. Because she has tools in bot lane. Like, the W is an insane tool for bot lane. Would you say she's harder than Kalista? Because Kalista has low range, but she doesn't have a thing that prevents all damage. She doesn't have CC with her ult. I mean, I guess she does, because you can pull a teammate. But she's teammate reliant, and it's harder to rely on teammates. I think Kalista is the hardest ADC in the game. Okay, if you want to argue more about Nilla, I'm down. Just how much Nilla sucks in early lane. I guess I've never played her much, or at all. So maybe I do underestimate her. I guess you rely on your teammate to put pressure as Nilla, but the enemy team is gonna push towards you, and automatically you're gonna collect the CS under tower. So it's not that terrible. And after one item, she's way easier to pilot. I feel the lifesteal really helps her. I'm conflicted. You can freeze in top bot. You can freeze, but if Nilla doesn't touch the wave, it cannot freeze. Like, it's never gonna push towards you to then freeze towards your tower. And then that's also the support's job to break the freeze. If you have like a karma. No, I honestly, you make good points. I'm tempted to put her up here. But I don't know if she's harder than Kalista. So if we order the Only for Gods, I don't know if she will be higher than Kalista. I do think you convinced me that she's harder than Samira. Because Samira has a lot of fucked up stupid thing, like her AoE win wall, that Nilla doesn't have. She does have anti-auto attack, but it's not useful against everyone. It's a bit stupid against those that it works against, though. take lower S. I think S has really high skill ceiling. Like the amount of auto attacks you can whip in and out. Like a bad S, yes, is not that good, but good S is insane. And all of his spells are skill shots. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna lower S. Yeah, okay, you convinced me to go. I'll put her up here. Alistar. Pretty stupid. You've got to do a combo, I guess. That's something. So I don't think it's brainwashed. I mean, honestly, it might be. He's very tanky for what he is. But he's kind of similar to Leona. Like, if I put Leona here, why wouldn't Alistar be here? Like, they're both kind of stupid. Alistar, 2 brain cells. Or brainwashed. I guess Leona has to land her, like, E to get in there. But Alistar is just auto-lock with his W. I guess I'm gonna... You know what? I'm gonna keep him here because a lot of people break combo even in Master. They don't know how to do the combo, which is crazy. And it is a thing you have to learn to do, I guess. So... A bit harder than Leona just having to... Like, they're on the same page, I would say, maybe. Yeah, but then, like, first base, he gets away from lane, he ganks mid, he wins the game off of that. You know. But Fiddlesticks? Wait, where's Fiddlesticks? Here. He gets... Okay. I'm gonna put him here for now because let me think about it. He gets a free jungle clear all the time with no HP loss. He heals off of the jungle camps, which is crazy. An auto-lock fear, a silence, an ult that's like very powerful. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he's higher than average. I think he is average, probably high average, because he plays a bit different than some people. But I don't think he's higher than this. Nunu! Honestly, 2 brain cells fighting. It's just snowball into the lane and be like, beep beep, I'm here. Get me kills. Oh, is his most played role support? Well, he's also really stupid as a support, to be honest. Great poke. Can say no to most engages with his Q. I think he's quite stupid as a support, so average should be fine. Maokai. Maokai is fairly stupid. Probably brainwashed. I guess the one tech you can do on Maokai is when you W the enemy, go behind them to Q and then push them towards your team. I guess that's a strat. Fiddle's W ignores Gwen W down. Fun fact, Fiddle's W reveals a Kali in her shroud. Lissandra. Lissandra is not the hardest thing to play ever. She has low range, which is not the easiest to play in lane. But her combos are not hard to land. I think she's here. I think she's easier to play than Annie. I think they're really similar, actually. Annie and Lissandra are super similar when you think about it. It's just that Lissandra has an escape tool, like mobility with her E. Probably a longer stun. Lissandra is hard to play if you put the language in Korean. I'm not gonna go into the wind shitters yet. Let's do this guy. Landing Q is a bit hard. That's about it, I think. I think he could be average dude. Yeah, I think average dude sounds fair. Tristana. Tristana is easy to play. Really easy. You just jump in and explode the bomb. Yeah, I think Triss is here. Dillion might be brainwashed. Because it's easy to land his Q when you slow the enemy down. I'm kind of down to put him down here. I don't think it's really hard to play. Gwen. Gwen is immune. Skill shot ults. Has to know when you use your immune. I would say average. I don't think she's brain dead. Or brain cells. 2 brain cells. You would say tough. Huh. I would say high average. Why tough? I'll let you justify. In the meantime, I'm gonna put Jax in 2 brain cells. His game plan is really fucking easy to execute. It's just E, jump in, stun, W, and then get out. Or keep on fighting. I think it's fairly stupid. I'm trying to do a few ones that are fast. Kog'Maw is fairly easy. He does have the fact that he has to hit and run, but most of the time he's paired. But we said we didn't take into account the pairings of Lulu, for instance. I think he's kind of like Jinx in a way. They're really similar. But he has... Does he have bigger range than Jinx? Probably not with her rocket form. I don't know why, but I think Jinx is harder to play than Kog'Maw. Am I crazy for thinking this? Kog is hard. He has nothing to protect himself. He has a slow. Okay, let's put him in the average. Oh, you found it? Get that mod away from you. Irelia. I think this is very similar to Anivia, where it's like people think she's hard to play, but she's not that hard, and she does a lot. She's heavily rewarded for something a bit common. So I would bump her down to average. I don't think she's 2 brain cells. I think that's a bit... I think that's anger speaking, but she might be tough for a newcomer, for instance. It's hard to get the hang of it. But she's extremely easy from my experience. Depends if it's top lane or mid lane as well. Because I think mid lane she's super stupid. I'd put her in highest, honestly, even though I'd never admit to that. Damn. High skill ceiling. Why? Why is the skill ceiling so high? Is it just because she can dash on everyone? And if so, isn't that like a good thing for her? Like, isn't it easy to do that? Compare her to Aatrox. Aatrox has limited range. Only 1 dash, I think? So he has to make it count. Irelia is kind of like... I go in, I try to land my E. If it doesn't work, oh, I'm just going out then. It's hard to punish her. She can blow up, yeah, but that's just because she's a glass cannon. But the damage that she does is insane. Micro optimization, and she's really matchup reliant on top. I'd say Irelia and Aatrox are similar in skill. I know that's what most people think. I might be biased because I'm a mid laner. So it's hard for me to put her higher because for me in mid lane, she just dashes on top of you and destroys you for free and no counterplay. She has to be able to play around, yeah, the minions being low HP, but like at some point, like you can do it. I can do it. If I see a few minion low HP, I Q and then engage, you know? You have a lot. You know what? Just because the argument that's winning me over is you have to do a lot of mouse movements and a lot of clicks. Like most people don't have to. Oh shit! Who did I move? I don't know. Most characters don't have to move their mouse that much. Not in a quick succession, at least. Just branded Irelia player. But see, like, why do you think they're branded Irelia players? Is it because they're being given too much thing? Why do you think Irelia players are branded? Is it because she has too many dashes and too many free things? Like, there's probably a reason why everyone thinks branded Irelia players. Is it the same as Yasuo? Do you think Yasuo is also... let's not get into Yasuo yet. My character design is overloaded. Yeah, I think she's overloaded, which makes her easier to play than something like Nidalee, who everything relies on this one spear that you have to hit. Hard to play, but attracts those people playing for clips, then inting. Yeah, but That's why you think they're retarded, okay. I'm gonna think about it after. I'm gonna come back to it. Graves. Graves is fairly easy. Lots of damage. Not much to say. Probably 2 brain cells. Could be average, but I don't want to put him here. I think he's also pretty tanky for what he is. Fizz. Fizz is... I hate to admit it, that he's not as stupid as... He's not 2 brain cells. He's average, for sure. He's not super hard to play. Because his combos are a bit too free. It's just like... QR onto the enemy, and then they're dead because you E, W, and they're dead. Why is Gwen solo? Yeah, okay, we're supposed to come back to Gwen. Average dude. What makes Gwen hard? Did you answer? Wait, let me check. You're saying she's harder than the people that are average. Why is she harder? Why is Gwen solo, and why you have decided to be the world's biggest disappointment with that decision? Yum. Edging. What? I don't edge. I don't think Gwen is that hard. She's not that hard to play. She has a lot of damage. She's anti-tank. She has little to no bad matchups. She fills a niche that not many people do. AP Bruiser. Gwen is 100% harder than Irelia. I don't know about that. Gwen needs the edge to survive. Okay. So does Aatrox. I mean, I guess he doesn't need to, but... I guess you have, like, yeah, a bit of, like, small movement to be inside or outside the shroud and move the shroud. But apart from that, like, most of the time, what does Gwen do? She's gonna E towards you, start auto attacking you, and R you to death. And she's not gonna use any of her W or her little quick changes. Gwen has actually a lot of more bad matchups than you think. Which ones? Name me some bad Gwen matchups. She destroys a lot of top laners. Even the things like Camille and Fiora, it's pretty even, I'm pretty sure. Without W, she's basically an ADC. You mean an ADC that can chase you down, that can slow you, that does a billion damage with a ranged ult? Yeah, in that sense, I do agree. Maybe tough nut to crack. I would not put her in only for the gods, that's for sure. That's as high as I can put her. I don't think she's... In my... I guess it's my tier list, like, it's my perception. I don't see any mechanic of Gwen that makes me go, oh shit, that's hard. Or anything like that. She has insane scaling, she has insanely high damage, she wins most 1v1s, if not even. Her laning phase is not terrible. She has too many things going for her. She's great at destroying tower, great split pusher, decent team fighter. I guess she has like a bit of optimization to do with her W, but okay. Raven, Fiora, Garen, Tryndamere. Stat checkers, basically. And I think she can beat most of them with skill. Maybe I'm being like... It's my outside perspective on top lane, but I don't see it being that hard. Akali, Kled, Ambessa, Olaf, Garen. Okay, those might be bad matchups, but those are... I'm fairly sure the ones that seem really hard actually are Gragas, Jace, maybe Kennen. The rest I think she can win. I will not put her higher. That's it. I'm putting my foot on the pedal. We're still debating whether or not Irelia drops. We'll see. Okay, Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench. What do we do with Tahm Kench? He's harder than 2 brain cells. I'd say he's average. He does have really high damage for what he is. His W is not that easy to land. Q is a skill shot. He has to know if he wants to eat enemy or teammate. My player lore. True. Literally blind. IRL. Half blind, sorry. I feel like you rate a lot of top laners skirmisher a bit low. But you say that, but when I rated Aatrox that high, you guys said, oh, there's no way Aatrox is that hard. Also, this is not ordered. Like, I could be here for all I know. I will do that after. And if not, then which one do you think I should rate higher? Like, Cassante is pretty high. Who do we have as top laner bruisers? Cassante. This guy. Her. Chen. Oh, let me see. Let's do more top lane skirmisher. I also didn't do all the top laners. Like Fiora. I think Fiora is really hard to play. I think she takes skill. I think she's... like, the difference between a bad Fiora and a good Fiora is like night and day. You have to know when you use your parry. It's a bit of a stupid spell, admittedly. But, yeah. Fiora, same as Gwen. No, I would disagree. Fiora has a thing where she has to run around the enemy and hit at precise places. Gwen just has to R you and then run you down with her Q. And she has the movement speed to do that, and she slows you. Like, if you're a ranged champion against Fiora, you can do a lot. Whereas against Gwen, you can't do much. She gets a speed boost and 50 dashes. Okay, she has one dash, and she needs to... it resets off... I mean, doesn't fully reset. She needs to hit it. And she needs to hit precise points. You just have to not give it to her for free. Juju also says Gwen is not hard. Oh, one of the best top laners in EUS says that Gwen is not that hard. Ah. Nah, I'm kidding. We're not gonna go at each other's throat, okay? It's just a tier list. Camille. I think Camille is easier than Fiora. Her E is a free gap closer. Her ult is like, hard to impossible to avoid. I don't think she's easy to play, but I don't think she's hard to play. The sweet spot of her W is kind of like whatever, like sure. Camille is average. Yeah, I could see that. Is she harder to play than Gwen? I'm always back to this. No. Of course you would say no. I'm not even gonna consider your option when we talk about Gwen. You're biased. Riven. I think Riven has skill. So she's either here or here. That's no questions asked. My question is, isn't it like a bit... doesn't she have a lot? Riven is highest. Doesn't she have like a lot of dashes? But yet she doesn't win automatically most top lane matchups. Okay, 2 people say Riven highest, and I'm okay, I'm done for it. Pantheon. Pantheon is stupid. 2 brain cells. Olaf. It's actually not 2 brain cells. I think it's average dude. You have to hit the... But then his game plan later on is just like run down and immune to CC. It's like pretty much close to this guy, to Nocturne. Would you say average or 2 brain cells for Olaf? Honestly, I think 2 brain cells. But like his laning phase is fairly complicated. Hitting Olaf Q is like... oh, is it that large? Okay, then we're putting him in 2 brain cells. Twitch. Twitch is not super hard. A lot of free things on his kit, and he does a shit ton of damage for what he is. Insane range with his ults. Steroid, attack speed steroid. Okay, I think 2 brain cells seems fair. Kiana. Kiana is actually somewhat hard to play, but I think she's a full somewhat hard in a way. Like I think she's pretty high in the tough nut to crack, but I don't know if I don't think she's only for the gods. Yeah, because yes, you have the combos, but at the end of the day, the combos are not that... once you get the hang of it, like you have it down, she doesn't adapt to everything that happens, I would say. She has like a precise game plan, and it's one-shotting the squishy by just pushing them into the wall. You think she's actually the hardest champion in the game? Okay, do tell why. Why would Kiana be the hardest champion in the game? What is in her kit that's that hard that would make her the hardest? We have to keep in mind that Kiana also has auto lock on her Q when she is the enemy. So most of the time they're just gonna do EQ and then WQ, W on the wall nearby, Q, and then ult. Or like E ults, E ult Q, WQ. Gets bullied in lane, so does Akali. But has counterplay because Doran shield. I think she's not as good of a Doran shield user though. All her combos are position dependent. Do elaborate on that. She has no range, can only go in, has the hyper optimize every interaction. Has no range, yes. Like her ult has really big range, but I do agree that her itself has low range. She can only go in. True, she has invisibility though. Kind of like Akali with the bushes. No fallback pattern is the big one. Yeah, Akali is definitely easier than Kiana, I would agree. Because she has like more options for everything that happens, whereas Kiana is always this one thing, and this one thing is fairly hard to execute. She can also farm with Q, like her Q doesn't have no range. You have to realize that. Like, yeah, she just goes invis and she can perma invis almost. I hear your points, and I do agree with some of them. I think she's harder to play than Orianna. I think she's harder to play than... Oh, see Gnar? I'm not sure if she's harder to play than Gnar. She's harder than Akali. Harder than him. I would even put him lower. No, look, I do agree that she's harder to play than most of these in Tough Nut to Crack. But is that enough to push her above here? Like, is she harder to play than anyone in Only for Gods? Would be the question we're trying to answer, basically. Yeah, I could see her being the highest Tough Nut. The highest Tough Nut. Is Talia easier than... But I think Talia is going to be fairly low in this list. Is Talia easier than Kiana? She's easier to pilot. Like, the floor is really easier. But the ceiling with Talia is really high. I think Talia is easiest God as well. But the question is, does she deserve the God status? The reason why we put her in God was not for her kit, but for her map awareness. You need to be aware of the map because your ult doesn't do any damage. And she has fairly low damage for a mid laner. So you kind of rely on having the number advantage and taking the right fights. You don't think Talia is God? I'll come back to it after. Okay, let's make progress. Katarina is kind of stupid, but not too stupid. She's hard to get the hang of. Like, I would say she's harder to get the hang of than Syndra. But once you have the hang of her, she's completely OP. But that's a matter of so I would say Tough Nut to Crack. Yeah, I would say so too. Kiana also gets harder for late game macro. You can just siege and... Yeah, that's true, that's true. You know what? Yeah, I would agree. But you don't necessarily need late game siege. Like, look, Akali has the same game plan as Kiana, doesn't she? Just get on the side lane, kill your opponent, and that's it. Kiana can also teamfight fairly well. She just cannot siege. But I think she has a fairly hard macro. Akali would be hard without an auto combo, true. But would she be God? Okay, Nefiri. Nefiri is really easy. There's literally no difficulty to the champion. It's either 2 brain cells or... Yeah, I think it's 2 brain cells. Like, she has 1 skill shot, but it's not really that hard to land. It does a shit ton of damage. You're rewarded so much for landing the Q that it's just unfair. Yeah, I would put her in 2 brain cells. Probably lower in 2 brain cells as well. Wait, where did she go? Where'd she go? Wait, where's the dog? I lost the dog. Oh, she's here. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, I think she's stupid. Stupid easy. And like she's really strong, but that's like a numbers thing. But even then, like she has no skill shots or anything. Map awareness, you don't need any because you can W anyway. Draven. Draven has a shit ton of damage by design. Has movement speed, has CC. I think Draven has everything you need in an ADC to successfully 1v9. But does that make him hard? He has a hard passive to get used to. It's either high average dude or tough nut to crack. I don't think he can go higher than this. Might be a high average dude. Because he doesn't have any one specific mechanic that's like, oh my god, whoa, hard. Hecarim. Hecarim, he's a horse. That much is for sure. And he's fairly easy. He just runs at you. Like, his game plan is really easy and doesn't require much brain power. 2 brain cells. I'd say it's actually hard. Really position dependent in teamfight due to passive. Yeah, but all of these ADCs are also position dependent. They're good against tanks though. But like being good against tanks or bad against tanks is not necessarily a plus or a minus. Because like in lane, Draven is a nightmare. Like he's a hard lane bully. Oh, do you mean like the moving? Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like good Dravens, it's in their blood. They don't really have to go out of their way to catch the axe. It's hard to get the hang of though. But that's the only one thing. And that's why that's the difference between him being high average than these being middle average. Hecarim is 80 Nunu. Yeah. Yeah, but being 80 Nunu makes it harder, I would say. Because it makes him less tanky. He does more damage. Jarvan. Jarvan is really stupid. I am a good Jarvan player. That goes to say. Like, I'm a stupid bad jungler in general. No, actually, maybe not. But I could pick Jarvan for the first time and do great in ranked. So, kind of stupid. Diego. See, here we're getting into dangerous territory because Viego as a champion is average. Like, high average, but his kit doesn't warrant being higher. But he can beat any character in the game. So does that unlock the potential and push him above everyone? Because he could be Azir and LeBlanc in the same game. So it's kind of hard. But we said we didn't take enemies into account. But it's built in his passive, so... No, I mean, most Viegos don't even need that. The only thing they do is they transform, they throw whatever spells forward, and then they retransform by using their ult multiple times in a single fight, which is stupid. Yeah, I would say he's average. High average. You know what? Okay, that's here's the counter argument. If he's hard because he can play anyone else, imagine playing Azir for a full game instead of for 10 seconds. How about that? Yeah, he's a bit stupid. Bike. As much as I hate myself for it, I would say he's not 2 brain cells. He's actually either average dude or tough nut. No, I think tough nut might be too high. He has a lot of free tools, but he gets a bit weaker in late game. He relies on... Yeah, I think average is fair. Kane, a lot of shitty damage. Tanky if he goes the other one. Broken does too much damage. But that's like, is that by design? No, but by design, he goes inside walls. So that makes him fairly fucking stupid. But he has to build up to get that strong. But the issue is that in solo queue, you're always gonna have an idiot that's easy to farm on. Hard for late game. Yeah, I agree with this. But he has so much... You know, like, if your late game is hard, it's maybe because your early is so good that you're supposed to win by 20. I mean, your walls, Kane probably. True. Cassiopeia is hard. She has potential in most matchups. And she has the hit and run of ADCs on a mage. But she has a big stun, really good self-peel, and healing. I can put her higher than Tough Nut to Crack. I don't think she's only for gods. Damn, I have good takes according to most people. Veigar is fairly easy. Yeah, he's fairly easy. Is he easier than those things? Like Annie. Annie is basically like the lower version of average dude. So, is he harder to play than Annie? I would say no. I think Annie is harder to play than him. Oh, my take is already over on Cass. Yeah, I would put him at top of brain cells, 2 brain cells. Lucian is fairly hard. He has a lot of like, you have to juggle your spells really well, but it's not that hard to do. He has a lot of mobility. Scale shot with his ult, he can land every shot and do a lot of damage, or not that many and do not that good. I think he's average dude, but pretty high. The guy isn't 2 brain cells, but 2 sauces tall. 2 apples. Also, was my take good to go on Cassiopeia? Rel is kind of like Leona, but I would say higher than Leona. I think she might be 2 brain cells, but high 2 brain cells. Because Rel has such high potential with her ult to change the whole game. Leona does not have the potential to change the whole game with her ult. She has the potential to kill one person, but that's about it. Whereas Rel is kind of like a mini Orianna ult. High 2, I would say. Gragas is an average dude. Might even be... No, he's an average dude. I guess he has like some hard combos with the ult pushing back into the queue, but I can do those combos. So, probably high average. I like how I can do those combos means that he doesn't deserve too much. Gragas top, low-key not easy. I would hard disagree on this one, sorry. Gragas top is basically, especially with Face Rush, is basically EWQ run away. And it's really hard to fight against it. I think he has a bit of everything he needs to succeed top lane for free. Yeah, only Loki, okay. Okay, cool. Only Loki. Silas. 1 skill shots. I guess he can be average. Like low average. I do think he's harder to play than Veigar. Sure, you get this spot for now. Set. He seems fairly stupid. In the sense that his gameplay is very straightforward. Punch, punch, punch. I guess your W, you can angle it and flash it to make it flashy, so it's not 2 brain cells. I think it's average. Is it middle average? Yeah, should be. Oh, Set is low 2 or brainwashed? I'm all ears because I think you could be right. I don't have a strong argument for him to be high. Set in high elo is actually not easy, so you're arguing for him to stay average. The thing is, his tags are only a W or ulting into the pack into W. So like, there's not that much tech. He's not tech heavy. He's just like a stat stick with a bit more flair. So that's why I think average is fairly fair. I'll also keep him in average. Nautilus. Nautilus is really freaking easy. Like 2 brain cells fighting. Might even be brainwashed. Yeah, I think he's brainwashed. Because I think he's Leona, but easier. Easier to pilot. Yeah. Damn. I would really assume that before that Nautilus, Leona, and Alistar would be in the same tier. But I'm surprised that he's actually even easier. Diana. Diana is... the combo is straightforward. There is potential in it. But I still think it's fairly 2 brain cells. Probably high 2 brain cells. Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai... I think there's optimization to be done with Rek'Sai. I don't think it's the hardest thing ever, but I think like the way you place your portals on the map, landing your Q while being blind. Rek'Sai is average, yeah, I would agree. Rengar. I think it's... No, it can't be average, dude. Can it? Okay, Rengar. I think the fact that he does so much damage is stupid, and he gets fed really easily. When he's fighting inside bushes, it's stupid. It's too much. The whole jumping thing is getting tired. But if you're behind, you're useless. And the combo, I don't know how easy it is to execute. I guess you just jump on the enemy and press Q twice. Rengar is 2. Okay, I would trust. Yeah, I'm sure every Rengar player says that. I would not be surprised. I forgot that he had a cleanse. You confirmed to me that he deserves 2 brain cells. Queen. Queen is cool. She's a top laner, a ranged top laner, so it's fairly easy for her to lane. She can counter most top laners, honestly, fairly easily. She has an easy time to up here. Her roam potential is insane. And it's not like hard roam potential, like, I think Talia's roam are harder because she needs to think about them a bit more. Whereas Queen is more like, you push your wave and then you roam because you can, and you have the movement speed for it. So I guess she has like high macro, so I would put her in average, dude. Gangplank, okay, that's a tough one. Everyone thinks that he's top tier. Oh wait, I lost him. Oh shit. No, you're down here. Where's Gangplank? Oh shit! I lost the pirates! Did he go back here? No. Oh, damn. Oh, he's here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's high potential. It's like a setup champion. You have to be smart to play him. Like, you have to set up your stuff in the right places. He has a cleanse, he has a global ult, which is probably an easy thing to do. I would probably put him high top. Because... what are the big difficult points about Gangplank? I would say the barrels are the only difficult thing, not just... You know, like, Talia has to land every Q, has to land her W to push into the rocks, because the rocks by themselves don't do much. The W by itself doesn't do much. Has to roam, has to watch out for the map. He is very unique, but once you get the hang of it, he has a lot going for him. He is a setup character. So, like, setting up properly is important. But he's rewarded really handsomely for it, so it's not like hard for no reward. He has global map action with his ults for free. I mean, for free, yeah. I mean, he does good damage. Passive utilization, Yes, in lane, I agree. Passive utilization is important with the barrels. My question is, do you see a lot of Gangplank's late game utilize their passive much? Or do they just blow you from a screen away with their barrels? Yeah, but I think he's harder than Ilaoi in the sense that he has to... Like, there are combos to be made with him, and that you have to learn, whereas Ilaoi, there's no really combos. It's more of a lane thing, yeah. Yeah, right? And, like, it's important in lane, but outside of lane, he just blows you up from a screen away. For doing a hard combo, so I will agree that he's tough, but he still blows you from half a screen away. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave him in tough nut to crack. Ooh, the top laners are gonna be mad at this one. Hwei. Hwei is easy. She's basically like similar to this guy. She might be easier actually. No, she's 2 brain cells. She's 2 brain cells. I'm not mad at it. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We're appealing to the top lanes. If I get the if one top laner tells me I'm okay, then no one else can come for me. Deal. Darius. I think Darius is easy. I think the whole sweet spot on his Q is like just an excuse to pretend like he's hard. I think once he grabs you, you can't really get away. You're pretty much doomed. So it's just a matter of getting the grab, and it's not really skill as much as it is using your ghost. So it's probably either 2 brain cells or... Yeah, I would say 2 brain cells. Yeah, I know you main Ornn, but some people main Ornn and then play mostly other things. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of Ornn and Seraphine players. Hwei might be brainwashed, actually. Oh, I'm open to the discussion. I do agree that her ult is a lot. It's kind of like Nautilus. Her ult is Nautilus. And she just punches stuff. You might... Yeah. Yeah, I think I might put her in brainwashed. Okay, let's compare her to something similar. Nocturne. I think Nocturne is a one-trick pony, whereas Hwei is more well-versed, which makes her more broken. Okay, if you have someone to blame for this take, blame Tico. Thank you. Ivern is skill shots, a very unique champion. So based on that alone, I think there is a skill floor to be had with him, but I don't think he's like the hardest thing ever. So I would say average, low average, like a Janna, sure. Yeah, I would say that's the reason why he's average, but like he doesn't have one insane mechanic that he has to master, you know. Look, this guy, Mordekaiser, top laner. Yeah, we're gonna say top laner. Could be a jungler, but Mordekaiser is pretty much a stat stick, but he has to land his E. But once he lands his E, if he has Rylai's, you're dead. So I think it's kind of like Darius, to be honest. 2 brain cells fighting. Ooh, we're getting close to the end. Nami. Nami is actually a skill champion. You have to know who you want to heal to bounce correctly. You have to land your bubbles. Your ult can be optimized to hit as many people as possible, ally and teammate and enemies. I would say she's almost a tough nut to crack. She might be one of the hardest supports. Do we have a high support? We have Senna. You would say Nami is one of the easiest enchanter? No. I think she's harder than Janna. Nami is average. Okay, I'm gonna put her high average. Yeah. I mean, it's only like the bubble that's really hard to do, and the bounces kind of happen. Yeah, she has a really good laning phase, that's true. But like, I'm not gonna hold it against her necessarily. Is there someone who has an easy laning phase here? Like, Ezreal has an easy laning phase. We're not holding it against him because we know that he has potential. But I do agree. Like, I don't think that's the right arguments against her, but I agree that she's average. Master Yi. The only I would not put him in brainwashed because the only thing he has to know is his power level, whereas most of these kind of like don't care how strong they are, they just press the button. I think he's probably the lowest low brain cell. Yeah, only thing is bubble. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Jace has tech, has the difference between a low Jace. I think tough nut to crack. I don't think only for gods. I think that would be too high. I have too much hatred. he does Kate by the lane fairly easily. And his QE is easier to hit than people give it credit for. The range is massive. Yeah, I would agree Chicago, but I don't think he gets away from 2 brain cells. Like, he doesn't have skill shots, he doesn't have tech. He just has to know when to engage and when not to engage, so I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave Jace here. The Cassiopeia is way harder than Jace. Let's not get that mixed up. Yes, but also he has to work for it. He has skill shots. He can do like the E flash. The W attack speed is hard to hit and run with. This guy. It's gonna hurt me not to put him too low, but I think he's average. I think he's middle average because he has the hard time laning. He does too much with his 6. I think his ult is a bit overpowered and gives him too many options for free. Rakan is he's an average dude, maybe. I kind of see him as the same as the Leona Alistar pack, but I see him as a bit smarter. Like, you need to be a bit smarter to play him, so average sounds fair. Kindred is actually a tough nut to crack. Might be only for gods, because you need to know the pattern with your spawns. Huh. What do we think? Is Kindred worthy of only for gods? First, do we all agree that he's at least tough nut to crack? Kindred is tough. You think tough? Not only for gods? I think he's kind of similar to Nidalee in the sense that they both have to be super proactive to win the game. And if you fall behind, you're awful. And you need to know macro really... Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think he's only for gods. The macro part makes it high. And he's also kind of an ADC, so there's the kiting part. Kind of, like, he doesn't play the same, but... He has good scaling, but only if he plays well. Like, if he doesn't get Mars, and if he falls behind, he's done for. I think God seems too much. I think the macro part of it makes a difference here. Just because, like... but isn't that the only thing? Like, yeah, but you also have the ult. Like, knowing when to ult is crucial. No, you know what? I'm gonna keep him here. Nasus is a bit stupid. Probably, like, high 2 brain cells. No, probably low 2 brain cells. Brainwashed. Clearly up here. Yeah, he's so hard to play. What do you think brainwashed? I'm curious. Brainwashed, okay, you guys agree. I think his W is a stupid spell, really stupid. But he's really easy to kite, on the other hand. But he has like Ghost and W to prevent you from kiting. I can see it. I'm not mad at him being brainwashed. Renekton. EE. You have to manage your furry. Your fury. Yeah, too. You can W minions. No, you can W minions accidents. I would never. That's only a you thing. Swain has the E is a bit tricky to hit. But that's about it. So I would say 2 brain cells. I think he's easier than most of the mages. Victor! Victor is fucking stupid. But there are things to be done, I guess. He has kiting. You can place his W optimally. The E is hard to get the hang of with the angling. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fair. Thresh is really high skill ceiling. Probably a tough nut to crack. I don't think he's only for gods. Because, like, at the end of the day, it's a hook champion. The only thing that sets him apart from the other hook champions is his lantern. The way that he has the position to keep in mind that he can save his teammates. I think Thresh players are honestly not good. Like, as in, they're not playing him the way he should be played, or the optimal way to play him. At least in ranked. Yeah, I think Thresh is up here, honestly. Oh my god, I'm not depressed. Stop singing this song. Urgot. Urgot is fairly stupid, to be honest. I guess he has a skill shot or 2, so 2 brain cells should be okay. Probably lower. Singed. It's all about knowing when to proxy. It's not the smartest thing ever. No skill shots. Probably pretty much just runs into the enemies and flips one. Bye. Zed. Does more damage? Yeah. Kinda stupid. Singed is simply singed. Zed. Zed is probably average dude. I do not buy in the fact that some Zed players think their champion is like the hardest thing ever to play. No. Maybe in Earth, but that's really not guaranteed. And like in normal game, the game plan is so stupidly easy. It's just W on top of the enemy, E, Q. You're guaranteed to hit at least one shuriken, proc your electrocute. Then you can retake the W and ult and do shit ton of damage. Hell, I picked it in Arena the other day, my first time ever, because I got random, and I still did pretty decent. Like, I thought his combos were harder to pull off than this, and I was really disappointed. People oversell Zed all the time. W, E, Q. Yeah. GG, you know how to play him. Whereas Hwei is out there doing like Q, Q, E, E, W, E, R. Yeah, Zeddy always gets fed somehow, and then he becomes insufferable. Renata is fairly hard. There's a high skill ceiling, but probably not as high as Thresh. I would say she's like around here, average. I have a hot take. Oh, let's hear it. What are we saying about Renata? Ah, my butt is hurting. High average because she's bad. Okay, but that's counting the stats. Look, I'm willing to put her right here. She's really matchup dependent on enemy team. Yeah, but she's always gonna have usefulness. I think she's kind of comparable to Janna in the sense that she has like a get off me tool with her grab compared to Janna's tornado. She has a shield like Janna with a slow built in, like Janna has a slow. And then she has her W that's like Janna's ult, as in it doesn't disengage like Janna's ult does, but it saves your teammates. It's like still a form of disengage, or like keep on engaging but doing more damage. But I do agree that she gets like way better. But do we hold that against them? We said that we took them as like in a vacuum. We said that like for Kog'Maw, for instance, Kog'Maw would be stupid easy if it was always with Lulu. But we said that we're not gonna include that in the judgment. We're judging her as herself, not, you know? I don't think knowing when to pick them is necessarily an argument. Rise. Well, Rise. Rise is easier than I thought he was initially. There is a macro element to him like Talia, but he's way easier to play than Talia is. I hesitate between high average or tough because you need to know the combos to really know what you're doing with him. The highest average? Yeah, that sounds correct to me. He's not the hardest champion at all. Like the combos are like, I think it's Q, E, Q because E resets your Q. So Q, E, Q, and then you can put the W somewhere in it. So you could do like Q, W, E, Q or Q, E, W, Q. It's really easy, to be honest. Read the Rise main's top post of all time on Reddit. What is it? Do tell, do tell. Shyvana. I just played Ornn in ARAM without attack speed. It felt terrible. Oh really? How come? You used your attack speed on Ornn? Shyvana. I think Shyvana is like a bit harder. She has to manage her old bar. So I would say average, probably like regular average. Her fireballs are really easy to hit once she has them. Yeah. First, again. Vayne. Vayne has high potential. She has low range but high potential. She kinda gets hard bullied by Caitlyn, so it's hard to play her in lane. But she does the highest damage out of any ADC, I think. Yeah, I think she's average. Average, because the fact that she's so strong, and she has invisibility, and she has the content to self-heal. Like, a lot of ADCs don't have that, and they don't do nearly as much damage as Vayne does. The hardest point for Vayne is just to get out of early game, not to escape. What do you think Lux would get? Oh, stream delay. Damn. Maybe reset the thing? Wait, let me try something. I disappear. Wait, we disappear. I don't know if it's my camera being not in sync with what I say, but you never know. I'm gonna just fix that and come back. You thought I would put Lux way below? Why? She has skill shots. That was my defense. A lot of people here wanted her to be low. Not gonna name names, but I think she has fairly hard skill shots to land. I'm still like bummed out that people think Morgana is not higher than this. I think Morgana is one of the highest 2 brain cells. You know what? Fuck you guys. I think Morgana is average. She's really similar to Lux. And she has like some more decision making to make than Lux does. But Lux has more skill shots. Oh, I see. Weird. Oh, Gwen is easy because even I managed to win on her. I don't know if that's the argument. don't put us back on the Gwen argument, okay? We've been there. We can move on. Wukong, I think he's very similar to Vi, so I think there are some stuff to be done with his clone though, so I will put him in 2 brain cells. Talon, kind of same-ish. There is a mechanic to be mastered with the wall jump, I guess. His laning phase is not that bad in mid lane if you were to go mid. Vladimir sucks. No, sucks. The enemies. I think he's not really hard to play. It's really self-explanatory. I think 2 brain cells fits. I don't think he's completely brainwashed because you have to survive lane. Whatever. Let's do Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is actually, I think Twisted Fate is one of the hardest to play again. Tough nut to crack or only for gods? I think high tough nut to crack. Because at the end of the day, it's just stun the enemy, throw your cards. It's just the macro, you have to be on point with the macro. It's just because he does less damage than most mages that I think he's pretty hard to play. I love that you put Soraka above as well. Soraka is... What I said about Soraka was that she can be played super stupid, but she can also be the reason you win bot lane because she can play very aggressively. And like even placing your E correctly, it takes somewhat skill. You have to be aware of everyone on the map to ult at the right time. You think TF is low tough? Well, we might order them later. Vel'Koz. I think Vel'Koz is like one of the most overrated hard champion. I think he's so freaking easy, and people seem to think that he's the hardest thing in the world. No, he's not. Does he have like a skill shot? Sure. Whoa, insane. Vel'Koz is not that hard to play. Like, yeah, I would put him like maybe high average. I don't even think he's tough to play. I think you can just like W the wave, and 2 Ws is enough to kill the wave. So no, he's just not that hard. His hit is so unbelievably bad. Is it super bad? I don't think it's the best kit ever, but I think it's terrible. But I think it's not hard is the question. No, he's not hard in high elo. It's bullshit. Like, the Q is not that hard to land. Like, it's just a 50-50 most of the times, so it's not that bad. Your EW combo is really easy to do, and Q from afar into ult is super easy as well. Like, it's just a skill shot at the end of the day. And there's not like a shit ton of what's it called? Of combos or strats. Like, Zoe has a lot of tech with her bubble with the ult. There's multiple ways you can cross up and do different stuff. Whereas Vel'Koz, it's always gonna be the same thing. No, we can talk about support. It's the same thing. He has high range, easy poke, guaranteed hit of the comet. Yeah, does a lot of damage for support. Can afford to build movement speed because he does true damage. Yeah, I've played him before once or twice. I'm not fond of the gameplay. Udyr. I think Udyr is like a fucking stupid champion. Like, I guess you can say he's brainwashed because you have to like use the right augments of his spell. But goddamn, is he close to brainwashed? I mean, I think he's brainwashed with a few brain mechanics. So sadly, I can't put him in brainwashed. No, I can't put him in brainwashed. He has to know when to use his anti-stun, for instance. That's the only thing, actually. Is he brainwashed? He has a meter that he has to manage. I think that alone puts you above brainwashed, sadly. As much as I would like to put him under. So just washed. No brain, just washed. I don't think Udyr washes, actually. Are there any supports in S tier? I am thinking no, but the closest one was probably Senna, and I'm still like debating, thinking. Who that bitch? Volibear. Volibear is fairly easy, but not the easiest ever. Probably 2 brain cells, but high 2 brain cells. Maybe a low average dude. The thing is, the combo of Q into E is fairly easy to execute. And his ult is really free to dive towers, so probably 2 brain cells. Two brain cells? Okay, we agree. Warwick! 2 brain cells! Yes, you can miss Warwick's ult, so... Xinsao. I think Xinsao is... There's a skill shot in his kit. And your ult is... You have to know how it works to use it. So, 2 brain cells, but goddamn is here stupid 2 brain cells. That W doesn't count, doesn't it? That's what I was saying. Too many 2s? That is a lot of 2s. Should I put more brainwashed? Okay, let's tackle the Yasuo problem. A lot of people will say Yasuo is the hardest champion to play. There's so much potential. He can dash on every minion, blah, 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 blah. I say he has a win wall for free where you can say nope. And that's not cool. Really not cool. I think he can farm from a bit of distance with his Q. And he has great follow-up on most of the cast. So... He's a melee mid laner, but if we're comparing melee mid laner, there is no way in hell Yasuo is harder than Kiana. Based on pure mechanics or like combos and stuff like that, Kiana is way harder than Yasuo. So it's for sure not only for gods. That's one cleared. Now, is he harder than some champions in here? I think he deserves to be in tough nut to crack, actually. Maybe. Low tough nut to crack, I would say. Not insane strats, but you can mess up really easily if you don't know what you're doing, is what I'm going for. No, we don't. Yasuo players are not included in this judgment of the character. Yeah, Nagitu, I was highly fighting for her to be here, but we'll keep talking about her later. I'm not done with her. She'll be the last one I talk about with Hwei. Ziggs. Ziggs is fun. Not that hard to play. Kind of like similar to Lux. I think he gets a bit of stuff more free than Lux. I would say he's lower than Lux. Round 2, fight. Yorick. Yorick, there's a bit of brain to be had with Yorick, I would say. I think average dude is fair. I don't think he's tough to crack. Like, he's still a melee bruiser guy. Oh no, you take a here we go. Ziggs is harder than he seems, and I don't know why. No, he's not. Most of the time, you only Q the minion that's next to an enemy to hit the enemy, and the area of the explosion hits the enemy. The E it covers a large area for a long time. Your W breaks towers, and you have a global ult, so that's pretty insane. Yorick in high elo is low-key hard for late game macro. Yeah, I would say macro is his biggest like downfall or like hard thing to do. His W is not the most... No, is it the E? The wall thing is also like... There is potential in here. That's why I think average is fair. I don't think he's tough to crack. I think that would be maybe pushing it a bit. Yeah, but Ziggs ult is almost a guaranteed hit if you place it in the middle and they don't have a dash. Whereas Lux, you need to follow up on the stun or something. Yeah, I agree to go. That's why, like, he's not set. He's way higher. I would say he's like right here, maybe. Are you arguing for tough nut to crack? Oh, okay. Now when you talk about maiden position manipulation, I can hear your arguments. Naturally, piloting another person while you're playing, like T-Burst, like Daisy, is naturally gonna be fairly hard for most people. When did the ranking start? 1 hour and a half ago. Yorick is average. You're not giving many arguments. Just saying Yorick is average is not enough. Here, what if we put him high average? Always stays at a certain range behind you, if not... Huh? What are you even talking about? Okay, there seems to be strats. At least there's more strats than a Rise. Rise only has macro. You know what? Sure, I'm not mad at her at Yuri being tough. If you want. Xayah. Xayah has potential. She's probably higher than most ADCs. She doesn't have a high range, and redirecting your feathers with a flash is insanely cool and flashy. I'm gonna put her in tough nut to crack, I think. Because I think she's overall bad as well. So, to make her work is to go against the grain. She does have like a sort of get out of jail free card with her ults. But I'm not gonna hold it against her, I think. If anyone's mad at her being in tough nut to crack, I'm here to hear your opinion. Okay, Sivir. Sivir is hit and run, kiting, know which spell to stop. I would say average, like middle average. Zeri, okay. Zeri has had a tumultuous past. She was at some point the best champion in the game. Parma picked in LCS. So I'm scared putting her too high because people would be mad. But every single one of Zeri's attack is a skill shot. And most of her spells give movement speed. That's it. Or a dash, a small dash. And her W is not reliable to hit. I think Zeri is harder than people give it credit for. I would say Zeri is harder than her. Just based off the fact that every auto attack is a skill shot. I missed like a lot of times. I missed my auto attacks, which is insane. I'll put her like somewhere here. This bitch, Briar. 2 brain cells fighting. There's the whole sniping with her ults, but where's Ashe again? Didn't we push Ashe down here? Yeah. And her sniping with the ult was not enough to put her higher. Briar is jungle Yumi. I'll put her lower. I don't think she's brainwashed. I don't know why, but I just don't think she's brainwashed. Great argument. Didn't we do Teemo already? I think we did. But that's the new Teemo, so we don't care. Ambessa. You have to get used to her, but I got used to her in 2 matches. I don't think she's very hard. I think her ult is kind of insane. She sticks to you like crazy. I guess she has like a high skill ceiling, but I don't think she's that high. Yeah, I think Sivir is like, because Sivir you have to think about when you use your. The reason why Ashe is so low is because she has no macro, because the bird gives you all the information. 2 brain cells fighting, probably high here, sure. Yone. Okay, we're talking about Yone post nerf when he doesn't have a cleanse anymore on his E. That's actually really important because he used to be insanely broken with his cleanse. So Yone, especially for my matchups actually. I think Yone is easier to play than Yasuo for sure. And has an easier time in most situations. A lot of things are given to him for free. And he doesn't have to work for much. I think... Let's see. I think Sylas is harder to play than Yone. So... He's either low average dude or... I think he's low average dude. He still has to hit some stuff. You can dodge his stuff. Yeah. No, I'm gonna put him low average dude. No 2 brain cells. And last but not least... Actually, not least, because we're gonna... Not last, because we're gonna review the placements. Hwei. I think he has to be at least tough nut to crack. Because... Obviously, like, we're talking about how hard he is to play. Just the fact that he's hard to pick up is already hard... Puts him higher than most people. Hwei has way more potential than a Rise, for instance. So he's definitely higher than him. The question is, how high? Because at the end of the day, there's a few skill shots with EQ, QW, and R I would say he's harder than Akali. Because Akali, the thing is, when you play Akali, you're the oppressor. You're not the oppressed. So when you're the oppressed, it's like you always have to be wary of your positioning, because if anyone jumps you, you're dead. No, that's actually not true. I mean, I'm in, I don't know if you know, but I'm a Hwei OTP, so I do agree that learning all his moves is a big step, and then he's not that hard after that. But since he has an answer to everything, a lot of the times I see myself saying, oh, I should have used EW instead of EQ here, because this champion does this. So you have to know a lot of matchup dependent things, so it's yeah, I think he's harder in that sense. Like, for instance, I don't think Kled is as hard as Hwei, just based on the fact that Hwei is often the oppressed, no movement speed, a bit of peel with the fear, but that's about it. And the love champion will take the fear and get back onto you really quickly. So nope, I will not hear about the burn build. Nope. You don't think Kled should be in Tough Nut? Yeah, weren't you guys the ones arguing for him to be that high? Because he can juggle with... I'll leave him like down here. I think Orianna is lower for sure. I think Hwei is higher than Orianna. Okay. What do we do first? Okay, first we're gonna see who from Tough Nuts has the chance to progress to Only for Gods. There's no Mel. Mel is, she wasn't here. There was no picture of her. Mel is actually super easy, so she would probably be two brain cells fighting. Which... No, okay, that doesn't make her the first mage to be in two brain cells fighting. There's already Seraphine. Okay, who are the characters in Tough Nut to Cracks that have the highest chance of progressing to Only for Gods? Tell me what skill she can't really miss any, but she also doesn't do the most damage because of it. And I guess her E is fairly slow, so if you try to hit it max range, you can walk away from it. I think Senna is fairly hard. I don't think she's as hard as something like Kalista. I can't... No, I don't think she is, so... Sadly, Senna's gonna stay in Tough Nut to Crack. You'd say GP and Thresh are higher. I don't think so. Thresh, I don't think so, because... Look. Blitzcrank is here. Thresh is basically Blitzcrank with an extra dimension of keeping your teammates safe. So... Just because of that, he climbs 2 spots. Like, two tiers. But I don't think he can be Only for Gods just based off the fact that he can Lantern his teammates. That's kind of insane. I mean, yeah, he's way harder than Blitz. That's why he's 2 tiers above. Like, there's so many champions in between those two, but... No input. I would argue that Hwei is high Tough Nut. I don't think he's Only for Gods, because... it's hard to fight my bias. There are combos, for sure, and the difference between a bad Hwei and a good Hwei is absolutely insane. But you can say that for anyone, or like most people. True to go. Is there ever a world in which Hwei climbs up to Only for Gods? I don't think so. I think it's gonna be like one of the highest Tough Nut to Crack. I don't think I want to put GP up here because in the end game, in team fights, he doesn't care about his passive reset with the barrels. He just barrels people from far away. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Now, onto the Only for Gods. We're gonna rank them, and we're gonna lower people that don't deserve to be here, potentially. In teamfight, getting good barrels is also hard. It's more about having to flank, I think. You rarely see like a gangplank being in front of you and landing the barrel. And I think his ult really helps with this because people are so busy running away from their ults that they don't really take the time to break the barrel. I don't think he's a tough nut to crack. No, Only for God. Controversial opinion. Okay. Who are the lowest Only for Gods that can drop? Someone said Ezreal. I say Irelia. Kiana is in the talk for it. Kindred is also not sure. I'm not willing to move Aatrox, that's for sure. Okay, just because you can pilot it doesn't mean you can reach his full potential. Yeah, you said Ez, yeah. I feel like Kalista is mostly hard with random subs without VC. She like the fact that she has to jump after every hit is already fairly hard. Like harder than just kiting with a regular ADC. She has lower range than other ADCs. She has a spell that's like fairly useless. The little ghost thing, useless. So she has to rely on her teammate, and that's also a really pain points in ranks. Like, I think she's got hard. I will not remove Kalista. She can be lower God's hard. I can hear the opinion for that, but yeah. My thing is Aatrox is ass right now. Yeah, but is that an argument to put him in Only Gods because he's ass, so it's hard for him to win a matchup? You can Q while you're dashing with W. Oh, can you? My biggest point of why having LeBlanc here is because she has the potential for everything, but she has to make a decision, and she's really punishable based on her decision. If she doubles you, she can double you the wave, so you will have to push. And most of the time, if you both land all of your spells on each other, you will come out on top. LeBlanc does less damage because she relies on her being like a trickster, being able to weave in and out, dodge your abilities. So you have to always constantly be on your toes. You also have the macro aspect to her, where you have to always be looking for where your jungler is, if you can join them in the jungle to do stuff. You could say it's everyone's case. Yes and no, because she's an assassin, so she really relies on getting her kills elsewhere. So LeBlanc is not moving. Elise is not moving, I think. Nila is probably low. I'm not even sure she's in here. Talia is also fairly low. Okay, so let's talk about Irelia a bit more. Irelia, does she deserve to be in Only for Gods? Most people would say yes, but most people would say Gangplank also deserves it. But there are clearly pain points for Gangplank. And the thing is, it depends if we consider Irelia top or mid. I think mid Irelia is stupid and too powerful and easy to pilot. Top Irelia is maybe another question. I don't know her matchups very well. Maybe she wins them. Or not. The thing is, the reason that made me put her higher than top nut to crack was the fact that she has to move her mouse a lot. Like, to go from the minion that's on this side of the screen to the minion that's on this side of the screen to dash quickly between all of them, you have to do like tack, 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 tack. You're kind of playing Ozu as well as playing League of Legends, you know? So, in that sense, it's fairly hard. Like, and you have to move your mouse a lot to like dash on this minion, dash on this minion, dash on this minion, E, stun the person, ults, dash, 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 you know? Like, there's a lot of mouse movements. Why is it a dumb argument? What do you mean? Like, Zoe only bubbles forward and then throw a spell backward and forward. That's it. That's like 3 mouse movements. Irelia is probably like at least 7 mouth movements off of one combo. Because Q, 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 E, E, Q on the enemy. That's a lot of mouse movements. And it takes time away. Like, you have to move precisely with your mouse. If you Q a minion that's right next to the minion that's low HP, your combo is done for. You're not gonna do the combo. Using a mouse. Yeah, but using a mouse, like, Annie doesn't use a mouse the same way Irelia uses a mouse, you know what I mean? Like, Annie is not out here being like, tack, 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 tack. Oh, sorry, Gangplank. Oh, okay, okay. I think she deserves to be up here. But I can also see the point of in which people say, okay, she Qs 3 minions, then E's you, and that gives her the right to one-shot you off of a spell that's like really hard to dodge. Her E is really easy for her to land. It's not the easiest ever, but it's not the hardest ever. So... yeah, but have you played mid lane against her, Tico? Like, have you ever played Syndra against Irelia, or Hwei against Irelia, or Zoe against Irelia? She just doesn't give a shit. And she eats all of your bursts with her W. Her E is near instant, yeah. So it's more prediction than reaction. Which is something I hate in the game, but... and her ult gives her resets as well, and it slows the target so your E is guaranteed to hit, right? She has a higher win rate top lane and mid lane. Wait, she has a 63% win rate top lane? No, wait, what? Wait, let me make sure. We'll see. Irelia win rate. Here. S. The thing is, we have to be careful not to... these are numbers, you know what I mean? Like, the numbers now can vary in the future. Like, if she has less damage, we're talking about how hard is she to play, not how strong is she in the meta. Oh, the peak rates, okay. Oh yeah, I mean, she's more popular top lane than mid lane, for sure. Begin charging. Like, this spell is insane. This is an instant stun. Her R is like... can you avoid her R? Like, unironically. Like, the R is just like so wide. Yeah, it's way bigger than like a Hwei ult, for instance. And I guess it's a bit lower in range. But also, how many times have you seen an Irelia carry the early with the Bork and with N, and then fall off and do nothing in the rest of the game? This is something we have to keep into account. Like, she has to find her usefulness in late game, and it's not always easy for her. Okay, you can flash it, but you can flash anything in the game. I'm torn. I am torn for this Irelia girl. Let's compare her to the people around her. I think she's gonna stay up here. That's not too many champions in Only for Gods, honestly. Yeah, and if you flash behind her as a mage, you're done for. You're done for. Because you see, like, that's for Irelia, but if Azir combos me, I don't feel cheated. I don't feel like it's unfair, because he's not gonna do as much damage as Irelia did. Oftentimes, if he combos me, it's because I got too close to his tower, so he punishes me for my mistake. Irelia just attacks you for free. And I can, like, She has a better gap closer than she does, than he does. Maybe she has a better gap closer. But she's relying on minions. If there's no minions, she's really hard to pilot. Weird power spikes, not as great early. Really good with it and with Zen. Oh, she's insane with her power spike. But she gets a bit weaker late game, that's true. But she has an insanely high win rate. I know that I'm talking about the numbers, but if I do Nidalee, for instance, Nidalee has a low win rate, and Nidalee is a hard champion, so her low win rate is explained by her hard championness. Talia probably has a higher win rate because she's not as hard mechanically. Talia is all about map awareness. Yeah, she's pretty strong. But it's different. Like, Irelia, we're talking about micro, not macro. Let's see. LeBlanc. LeBlanc is bad because she's a hard champion. Yet she's considered balanced. Azir. Azir has low win rate because he's a hard champion to play. Lee Sin, I think, is the exception. I think Lee Sin would have a great win rate. Oh. Yeah, you see the difference between a plat Lee Sin and a Diamond 2 Lee Sin. Pro jailed. Never coming back. I mean, never gonna be strong because of it. Lee Sin picks depend. Yeah, there are some picks like this. When Zoe had like a 47% win rate on the EU West, she had a 51% win rate on the NA servers. So it's really funny. And in Korea as well. It's because different servers mean different playstyle, and some champions are way better in different playstyles. I'm happy with most of those up here. I think Talia is harder to play than Thresh, if we're being for real. Like, by a lot. Do I think Kindred is... Yeah, I think Kindred is way harder to play than both of those. I think Kiana is a bit harder, not much. I think Kiana is the lowest only for gods if she's an only for gods. Ah, Irelia, you're so annoying. Because, like, I think Irelia is really comparable to something like Gnar. Not really, but I would almost say Gnar is harder because he has to manage his forms, and depending on his forms, he's more or less strong for different things, so he has to be in the right place at the right time. Whereas Irelia is always just go in and try to win your 1v1. You know what? I'm gonna do a controversial thing and put Irelia down here. I think she's rewarded a lot for less efforts. I can see the difficulty. She's still in the top like 20, but yeah. I think she's a tough nut to crack. Once you have it down, you don't have to care much about a lot of things. You just win your 1v1. I think. I'm not sure yet. I mean, there's a reason why she has such a high win rate. Maybe she's not as hard as people make it out to be, because look at this. 50% win rate in Emerald Plus. She could be overpowered with her stats right now, though. But the difference between the two is only 2%. It's not the same as Nidalee, who's way higher. No, I'm not sure. Should she go back to only for gods? Wait, let me think. Actually, let me... I'll test her. Wait, let me test her, and then we'll come back and see if she's actually hard. I'll test her in a training game. Alright, Irelia is not in the Only for Gods. I decided. Irelia 1v1 someone. There we go. Irelia has her tier. Okay, now let's try to do a top 5. A top 5. I think Irelia is maybe in the top 5. I think Lee Sin is in the top 5. I think Aphelios is low. These two are fairly low in it as well. Someone with hands. Who's harder between Ezreal or Kalista? I would say Ezreal at 2 to get the most out of. No, I think Elise is easier to pilot than Needly. Kalista harder. Okay, interesting. I mean, yeah, you went Ezreal to drop, so... Okay, can we all agree that Needly is top 5? Because you rely so much on the spear, you have to invade... Yeah, okay, cool. That's the first secure top 5. Azir as the hardest mage in the game. LeBlanc is also... Huh, is it Azir or LeBlanc harder mage? Azir or LeBlanc as the hardest mage? Azir. Yeah, I know you would say Azir. I know most people would say Azir. Do I agree? I think LeBlanc is freaking hard. I think Azir is more like, get the hang of it. And he can't really roam and everything, that's the thing. LeBlanc has to roam to be useful. Okay, my list, I think LeBlanc is harder to play than Azir. To play well. To play perfectly. Yeah, to play perfectly. So 1, 2, 3. Is she actually harder than Azir? It's all about this like W usage that I'm torturing myself. Okay, Ezreal I would say is the hardest ADC to play. Optimally. It's one of the easiest to play, but one of the hardest to play optimally. So top 3 is gonna be them 3. And like, no, we're doing top 5. I think Lee Sin has to be here. Yeah. And then we have one more spot. I think Azir might take it. Honestly, I don't see any one of those being harder than Azir. Okay, I think Azir is in it. We want to order them. I'm gonna do this. I think Ezreal is maybe easier than Azir. Because Azir relies on his soldier being in the right places. Is LeBlanc harder? No, is Lee Sin... Who is harder, Lee Sin or Nidalee? Kiana, Azir, Riven, Nidalee, GP. Interesting. Nidalee, Azir, Lee Sin. Okay, we have 3 in common. Riven and Aatrox. Okay. Yeah, okay. Nidalee. Yeah, but Lee Sin has the kick flash. He has the hardest combo, but Nidalee has the most... Like, she has a fire under her ass at all time of the game, and if she's not doing the perfect thing, she's useless. Nidalee is harder. Okay, so Nidalee is the hardest champion in the game. I say LeBlanc is second hardest. Between these two, they're kind of really similar because one is gonna shuffle you and the other one is gonna kick flash you. Ward hop. Azir has more constraints, which makes it maybe harder to play because he needs to play around his soldiers who have a range of like, you know, like they have to be almost melee to hit the enemy. So... I think Lee Sin is a bit more free-flowing, so it allows more opportunity, whereas Azir is really strict with what he can do. Yeah, that's true. I agree, Nagi too. Okay, why are you... Okay, you all seem to say Riven in the top 3, or in the top 5 rather. Why Riven in the top 5? I never play top. I rarely see Riven nowadays. I almost never see her. I see she has a shit ton of damage. She can jump walls. She has a lot of dashes, a shield, a stun. At the end of the day, like, when I see her late game, she just Q3 into my team, into W, into ult, and she killed everyone. And I get that there's like some animation cancel with like Q auto or something. But I don't see it being as necessary. Maybe not necessary, but yeah, I don't know. Why can you give me arguments why your Riven is in top 5? The only people playing Riven now are the ones who mastered her, and you think they're all in Grandmaster, and I'm not there. That's why you're mocking me. No sustain whatsoever, and she's near useless when just even. Is she? She has to be ahead, and she can be kept behind from ganks. That's also something we have to keep into account. Junglers are not afraid of ganks. Laners always have to keep in mind the ganks. That's why LeBlanc cannot just use her W in lane, because if she gets ganked after that, she's screwed. One mistake in lane and you can no longer fight. Okay, I think Riven is harder than Ezreal then. I can see the argument. A lot of those have, yeah. A lot of those have range or lifesteal for these two. So if they make a mistake, they can lifesteal their way back up or range their way back to farm. She cannot. I can see that. My thing is with it is like, once she's ahead, she's ahead. She doesn't need to do much once she's ahead. Whereas an Ezreal still has to hit every ability. If a LeBlanc misses her chains, she's not gonna do much damage. I think she's the lowest of the top 5. But here are the top 5 champions. I think the most controversial take is probably my LeBlanc placements. I think my Talia is also probably higher than most people's Talia, but I think she... Yeah, I explained why. But yeah, LeBlanc, I think most people don't place her as high. I just think LeBlanc has so much going for her, like the fact that you can W forward but also W backward, the fact that you have to remember where each W is so you can go back to their placements, and the chain is a hard skill shot to land, honestly. You have to land your W to do damage because otherwise it's the spell that you max. But if you use your W forward, you can be jungle ganked and then you're screwed. Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe I'm smoking crack and I can't wait for people to criticize my take. Because I want to hear why they think my take is not correct. If you have any argument on why a take is not correct, but like a strong-willed argument that like proves by A plus B that it's not correct, then I will take it. I'm only surprised about Kiana. Did you think she would not make it up here? I was also not sure she would make it up here, but Tigao had good arguments for it. She has hard combos. My issue with it is that kind of like Akali, her EQ is auto-target. Akali too with her RE. But Kiana can only go in, whereas Akali can go out if shit goes south. I'm kind of heartbroken that Hwei is here. But like, it makes sense because these two are so similar. But this one has like the argument of I need to know which guns I have and which guns I will have after the guns I have to know which one I should use to, you know, all of this thing. Hwei doesn't have that. He just waits for the cooldown to come back. So it makes sense that he doesn't get higher than Tough Nut to crack. Kenna is like an 80 version of Katarina to me. I can see it, but her ult is really easy to miss. Have you played Kenna? Her ult sometimes you just miss for some reason, and you don't know why. Alright, let's do the bottom 5 champions. Who are the most stupid champions in the game? I'll say Maokai is stupider than Nautilus because no skill shots. I think Galio is very stupid, but maybe not the stupidest. Ramus is very stupid. I think she might be the stupidest. Bottom 5 at least. Trundle is very fucking stupid, to be honest. Okay, that's 4. Are we putting Yumi in very freaking brainwashed? No, because there's like... If a good Yumi should like hop between multiple teammates and land her Qs. Whoa. I think he might be... I will put him in 2 brain cells fighting. I don't think he's brainwashed. Because, especially at high level. At low level, no, at low level he's brainwashed. The highest brainwashed then. Is Mundo the one? Is Mundo stupider than Garen? Yes. Is Mundo stupider than Galio? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I mean, Shogat... He has to hit his Q at least. That's the very least. These people don't have to hit anything. They just run at you and it works. That's why I think Galio is also not here, because he has to keep in mind that his teammates are around, so who should he ult and stuff like that. I mean, I'm trying to make it sound complicated. It's really easy, but at least there's something. Same for Mumu. He has a bandage toss, which is a skill shot. That's already harder than all of those. Yeah, I think those are the bottom 5 champions. And this is my top 5. Yeah, okay, I think I'm happy with this. There might be some people that are like lower than some others in these tiers, but overall I think I'm happy with where I placed everyone.